Hey guys, tonight we begin with something dangerous. Something most people romanticize but few truly understand. We are diving into what life was really like as a resistance fighter in Nazi-occupied France. Forget the Hollywood heroics. Forget the clean uniforms and dramatic music. The truth? You probably wouldn't survive your first week. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from and what time it is for you. It is always fascinating to see who is joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let us ease into tonight's journey together. Congratulations, you have just been recruited into the French resistance. The year is 1942. France has been under German occupation for 2 years now. The good news? You are fighting for freedom. The bad news? Your life expectancy just dropped to somewhere between 3 weeks and 6 months, depending on how careful you are and how lucky you get. There is no uniform to protect you under the Geneva Convention. No official rank. No backup. If you are caught, you are not a prisoner of war. You are a terrorist. And the Gestapo has very specific ideas about what to do with terrorists. Chapter 1. Welcome to the shadows. You wake up this morning in your tiny apartment in Lyon. But you are not really you anymore. Your name is not your name. Your job is not your job. Your entire identity is a carefully constructed lie that could collapse at any moment. Let us be clear about something right away. You are not a soldier. Soldiers have barracks, mess halls, and medics. Soldiers know who their enemies are. You live in a world where your neighbor might be writing down your comings and goings for the local Gestapo officer, where the baker you have known for years might be a collaborator, where that friendly German soldier who buys cigarettes from your shop might be aware intelligence gathering information about resistance networks. Your apartment is on the 3rd floor of a building that smells like boiled cabbage and coal smoke. The walls are thin, paper thin. You can hear Madame Dubois coughing in the apartment next door. You can hear the Mercier family arguing about whether to send their son to the service du travail obligatoire, the forced labor program sending French workers to German factories. Everyone can hear everything, which means you cannot make a single unusual sound. No late-night meetings. No radio transmissions. Nothing that would make someone curious. The morning light filters through your grimy window. It is November 1942 and the cold is already brutal. You have one thin blanket. The coal ration barely keeps the room above freezing. Your breath makes clouds in the air. But you cannot complain. Complaining draws attention. Being memorable is a death sentence. You get dressed in the same worn clothes you have worn for months. There is no washing machine, obviously. No hot water on demand. You heat water on a small stove when you can afford the fuel, which is almost never. You smell like everyone else in occupied France. Unwashed, tired, afraid. This is actually good camouflage. Clean people stand out. People with resources stand out. You need to look exactly like everyone else. Hungry, cold, beaten down. Your false papers are in your jacket pocket. Always. The identity card says you are Marcel Fontaine, a clerk at a textile warehouse. The story is simple, boring, forgettable. That is the point. Your real name does not matter anymore. In fact, thinking about your real name is dangerous. You might slip. Use it by accident. So you repeat your cover story in your head every morning like a prayer. Marcel Fontaine. Born in Bordeaux, moved to Lyon in 1938, works at the warehouse on Rue de la République, lives alone, has no political opinions, minds his own business. The papers are good, very good. The resistance has a forger who used to work for the Ministry of the Interior. He knows every watermark, every stamp, every signature style. But good papers only work if you believe in them. If you hesitate when a German officer asks your name, if you pause when asked where you work, you are done. The Gestapo has interrogators who can smell doubt like sharks smell blood. There is a knock on your door. 3 quick taps. Then 2. Then 1. The signal. Your heart starts hammering, but you force your face into a neutral expression. Showing fear is weakness. Showing anything is dangerous. You open the door to find Antoine, another resistance member. Except you do not know him as Antoine. You know him as Paul. Or maybe Jacques. Everyone has multiple names, multiple identities. Trust is a luxury you cannot afford. He slips inside quickly, glancing down the hallway first. He smells like tobacco and fear sweat. Everyone smells like fear sweat these days. He hands you a folded newspaper. Page 3 has a small mark in the margin. The signal that there is a message. You will need to use the decoder key later. Right now, you just nod. He leaves as quickly as he came. Welcome to the resistance. This is your life now. Secrets wrapped in lies, wrapped in terror. Chapter 2. The City of Eyes. You leave your apartment at exactly 7:30 in the morning. Not 7:25. Not 7:35. 7:30. Routine is survival. People notice changes in routine. The street outside is gray. Everything in occupied France is gray. The buildings, the sky, the faces of people shuffling to work, the German military vehicles that rumble past. Even hope feels gray here. There are checkpoints everywhere. Random, unpredictable. You might walk 3 blocks without seeing a single German soldier, then turn a corner and walk straight into a full street search. ID papers, bag searches, questions. Where are you going? Where are you coming from? Why? The questions are designed to trip you up, to make you nervous. Nervous people have secrets. You see one now, a checkpoint at the end of Rue Mercier, for Wehrmacht soldiers and 2 Gestapo officers in their long leather coats. The Gestapo are easy to spot. They wear civilian clothes, but you can see it in their eyes. The way they watch people, looking for tells, looking for fear. A small crowd has formed, people waiting their turn to be processed. You join the line. You do not avoid checkpoints. That looks suspicious. You do not seem eager. That looks suspicious too. You just wait, patient, bored, like everyone else. The woman in front of you is crying softly. Her papers are not in order. Maybe she is Jewish. Maybe she is just unlucky. A Gestapo officer is screaming at her in German-accented French, demanding to know why her work permit has expired. She stammers that she has been trying to renew it, but the office has been closed. He does not care. He signals to the soldiers. They grab her arms and drag her toward a waiting truck. She is gone. Just like that. The line shuffles forward. Your turn. The Wehrmacht soldier barely glances at your papers. He is young, maybe 19, probably from some small town in Bavaria. He looks as tired as everyone else. He waves you through. The Gestapo officer is still watching, though. You can feel his eyes on your back as you walk away. You do not look back. Looking back suggests you have something to hide. The walk to your supposed workplace takes 45 minutes. You actually do work at the textile warehouse. That is part of your cover. The job is real. The tedium is real. 8 hours a day moving boxes, filing paperwork, nodding politely to your supervisor, being invisible, being forgotten. But 3 times a week, you do not go to the warehouse. You take a different route, through alleyways, across courtyards, watching for followers, watching for anything unusual. Car parked in the wrong place. A man reading a newspaper but never turning the page. A woman who seems to be window shopping but is really watching reflections. Today is one of those days. You need to pick up a weapons cache from a dead drop location. Walk past it once to make sure it is clear. Come back in 30 minutes. Retrieve the package. Simple. Except nothing is ever simple. The dead drop is in a cemetery. Cemeteries are good because people come and go without patterns. Mourners, grave tenders, the occasional German officer visiting fallen comrades. You can blend in. You walk through the cemetery gates. The graves are old. Weathered stone crosses and elaborate mausoleums from the 1800s. Some fresh graves too. Young men, war casualties, resistance fighters who were caught. They get unmarked graves usually. No names, no dates, just numbers. The weapons are hidden behind a loose stone in a mausoleum wall. You approach slowly, checking sight lines, listening. The wind moves through bare tree branches. A crow calls out. Everything seems normal. You reach behind the stone. Your fingers find the cloth-wrapped package. 3 kilograms of plastique explosive and detonators. Enough to blow up a rail line or a bridge. You slip it into your worn satchel between a lunch tin and a spare shirt. If stopped, you need the bag to look natural. Random. Poor. That is when you hear it. Footsteps. Boots on gravel. German boots. The distinctive crunch of military-issue leather. You keep your face neutral. You are just a man visiting a grave. You kneel in front of a random tombstone. Bow your head. Pretend to pray. The footsteps pass behind you. You do not turn around. Do not look. A voice speaks in German. Then laughter. 2 soldiers joking about something. They walk on. You count to 200. Then you stand. Brush off your knees. Walk away at the same unhurried pace you entered with. Your heart is trying to break out of your chest, but your face shows nothing. This is the game. Every single day. This is the game. Chapter 3. The food that isn't food. Let us talk about eating. Or more accurately, let us talk about starving slowly while pretending everything is fine. France was a country famous for its cuisine. Butter, cheese, wine, bread that made the entire street smell like heaven. That France is gone. The Germans took it. They ship French food back to Germany while French people get ration cards that promise food and deliver almost nothing. Your ration card allows you 250 grams of bread per day. That is about half a loaf. Sounds reasonable until you realize that is your entire calorie intake for the day. There is no butter. No meat except occasionally on Sundays, and then it is usually horse or mystery meat from sources you do not want to know about. Cheese is a memory. Real coffee is impossible. You drink chicory root that tastes like burnt dirt mixed with sadness. The bread itself is not even real bread. It is made from whatever the bakers can find. Wheat flour mixed with sawdust. Chestnuts. Ground up hay. The texture is like eating damp cardboard. It sits in your stomach like a rock but provides almost no nutrition. You are hungry within an hour. Always hungry. You learn to think about food constantly. It becomes an obsession. You dream about pre-war meals. A roasted chicken. Potatoes cooked in duck fat. An apple that is not brown and mealy. Your body is eating itself. You can feel it. Your pants are loose. Your ribs show. Your hair is falling out in small clumps because your body does not have enough protein to maintain non-essential functions. The black market exists if you have money, which you do not. A kilogram of butter costs more than you make in a month. A real egg costs the equivalent of a full day's wages. Only collaborators and German officers eat well. You see them sometimes in the better cafes, eating meals that smell like the old world. Their faces are full and pink while everyone else is gray and gaunt. But here is the thing. Being visibly hungry is actually protective camouflage. If you looked well-fed, people would wonder where you got the food. The Gestapo would wonder. Your neighbors would report you out of jealous spite. So you accept the hunger. You let it hollow you out. You become another skeleton shuffling through the streets. Dinner tonight is a thin soup made from vegetable scraps. Potato peels, cabbage cores, some kind of bone that has been boiled so many times it has no flavor left. You eat it slowly, making it last, pretending it is satisfying. It is not. After dinner, you attend a resistance meeting disguised as a small gathering of old friends. 6 people in a basement. The host serves ersatz tea, which is just hot water with some dried herbs that taste like lawn clippings. Everyone pretends it is fine. Everyone pretends everything is fine. The meeting is about the next operation. A planned derailment of a German ammunition train. You are part of the team that will plant the explosives. The discussion is calm, professional, but everyone knows the stakes. If the operation succeeds, the Germans will execute hostages. Random French civilians. Maybe 20, maybe 50. This is their policy. For every German soldier killed, they kill 10 Frenchmen. For every act of sabotage, they kill until the point is made. So you are not just risking your own life. You are risking the lives of innocent people who will be pulled out of their homes and shot in the street. This knowledge sits in your stomach heavier than the thin soup. But you cannot stop. If you stop resisting, the Germans win completely. France disappears, becomes another province of the Reich. So you plan the operation. You memorize the timing. You accept the weight of what is coming. After the meeting, you walk home through streets that are completely dark. No streetlights. The blackout is total. The Allies bomb Lyon sometimes, and the city has to be invisible. You navigate by memory and touch. Hands on walls. Counting steps. You pass other people. Just shapes in the darkness. Everyone silent. Everyone afraid. Want a midnight snack? Dream on. Want breakfast that actually fills you up? Forget it. Want to remember what real butter tastes like? Welcome to occupied France, where food is a weapon and starvation is policy. Chapter 4. The smell of fear. You cannot shower. Let me repeat that. You cannot shower. There is no hot water. There is barely cold water. The coal needed to heat water is rationed so severely that you get maybe one hot bath per month if you are lucky. Your apartment has no bathroom. There is a shared toilet at the end of the hallway that services 4 families. 16 people using one toilet. The smell is unforgettable. The kind of smell that seeps into your clothes and follows you everywhere. A mixture of human waste, cheap soap, and despair. You wash when you can using a basin of cold water. Sometimes you heat a small pot on your stove, but fuel is precious. You ration it carefully. Most days you just wipe yourself down with a damp cloth. Face, armpits, the basics. It is not enough. You can smell yourself. Everyone can smell everyone. The clothes you wear are the same clothes you have worn for 2 years. No new clothing is available except through ration cards that never seem to have the items you need. Your shirt has been patched so many times it is more patched than original fabric. Your shoes have cardboard inserts because the soles wore through months ago. When it rains, your feet get wet. When it is cold, your feet freeze. Frostbite is common. You see people with blackened toes. Fingers that had to be amputated. But personal hygiene is actually a low priority compared to staying alive. The Gestapo does not care if you smell. They care if you look suspicious. And right now, looking poor and dirty is the opposite of suspicious. It makes you invisible. The real hygiene problem is disease. Without proper sanitation, without adequate nutrition, without heat, disease spreads fast. Tuberculosis is everywhere. You hear people coughing in the night. That wet, rattling cough that means lungs are failing. There is no treatment, no antibiotics. Penicillin exists, but it is reserved for German soldiers and important collaborators. Regular French people just die. Typhus outbreaks happen regularly. Lice spread it. Everyone has lice. You can feel them crawling through your hair, biting your scalp. You try to pick them out, but there are too many. They live in your clothes, in your bedding. Washing does not kill them all. Only extreme heat kills lice, and you do not have access to extreme heat. You wake up sometimes with bites all over your body. Bedbugs, fleas, lice, things you cannot even identify. Your skin is a map of red welts and scratches. You itch constantly, but you cannot scratch too much. Scratching breaks the skin. Broken skin gets infected. Infected wounds can kill you because there are no antibiotics and doctors are scarce and expensive. Here is the thing nobody tells you about living in these conditions. You stop noticing after a while. Your nose adjusts to the smell. Your skin adjusts to the itch. You accept it as normal. This is the new baseline. This is life now. But then you remember what it was like before. Hot showers, clean clothes, soap that actually made you feel clean. That memory is dangerous because it reminds you of everything you have lost. So you push it away. You focus on the present, on survival. The Gestapo headquarters is in a beautiful building on Place Belcourt. You walk past it sometimes on your way to work. You can smell it before you see it. The smell of actual soap, of clean uniforms, of coffee, real coffee. It drifts out of the windows and mocks you. The Germans live in a different world. A clean world with hot water and adequate food and medical care. They maintain their standards, their discipline, while you rot. This is part of the occupation strategy. Degrade the population, Make them weak. Make them desperate. Desperate people inform on each other. Trade information for food. Betray neighbors for favors. The Gestapo knows this. They cultivate it. You have not bathed properly in 3 weeks. You smell like sweat and fear and the collective misery of occupied France. And you know that, if you are captured, the Gestapo interrogators will use this against you. They will strip you naked, mock you, humiliate you, break you down psychologically before they even start the physical torture. So tonight, when you stand in front of your basin with a cup of cold water and a rag, you do your best. You wash your face, your hands. You try to maintain some tiny shred of dignity. It is all you have left. Chapter 5. The clothes that betray you. What you wear can kill you. Let that sink in for a moment. Your clothes are not just fabric. They are evidence, clues, testimony that can send you to a Gestapo torture chamber. You own exactly 2 shirts. One is olive-colored and worn through at the elbows. The other is gray and has a stain on the collar that will never come out. Both are made of rough cotton that feels like burlap against your skin. You alternate wearing them. When one is too filthy to stand, you wear the other while washing the first in cold water with a sliver of soap that barely produces bubbles. Your trousers are brown wool. At least they used to be brown. Now they are a color that defies description. Faded, stained, patched with fabric that does not match. The knees have been reinforced twice. The seat has a patch on a patch. The zipper broke months ago, so you use a button and hope. No belt. Belts are leather and leather is valuable. You tie the trousers with a piece of rope. Everyone does this. It is normal, unremarkable, which is perfect. Your jacket is the most important item you own. It is a dark blue worker's jacket with deep pockets. The pockets are essential. You carry your false papers in the inner pocket, a small knife in another, sometimes forged ration cards, sometimes coded messages, sometimes small amounts of explosives. The jacket has to look ordinary while concealing extraordinary things. But here is the problem. The Gestapo knows about pockets. They know about hidden compartments. When they search you, and they will search you eventually, they will find anything you are carrying. So you have to decide every morning what risk you are willing to take. Carry the materials you need for your resistance work and risk being caught with them, or go clean and be unable to complete your mission. Today you are carrying the plastic explosive you picked up from the cemetery. It is wrapped in oilcloth and tucked into a false bottom in your satchel. The satchel looks like a worker's lunch bag, worn, stained with grease, unremarkable. But if a Gestapo officer decides to thoroughly search it, you are dead. Your shoes are held together with wire and hope. The soles are wooden because leather soles wore out a year ago. They make a distinctive clacking sound when you walk. Everyone's shoes make this sound now. The symphony of wooden soles on cobblestones. It is the sound of occupied France. You do not have a hat. Hats were fashionable before the war, but now they mark you as someone with resources. Someone who can afford non-essential items. You go bareheaded. Your hair is cut short because long hair requires maintenance and products you cannot afford. Short hair also dries faster when you get caught in the rain, which happens constantly because you do not have an umbrella. The clothes you wear have to tell a story, a boring story, a story that makes Gestapo officers glance at you and immediately forget you exist. You are a worker, poor, tired, no threat, no interest. This costume is your armor. But maintaining the costume is exhausting. You cannot wear anything too clean because clean suggests resources. You cannot wear anything too dirty because that draws attention too. You cannot wear anything that hints at your real identity. No Catholic medals if you are pretending to be atheist. No wedding ring if your cover story is unmarried. No watch because watches are valuable and someone poor would have sold it for food months ago. Every morning you check yourself in the broken mirror above your basin. Does this person look like Marcel Fontaine, textile warehouse clerk? Does this person look forgettable? The answer has to be yes, every time. Your life depends on being unremarkable. There are women in the resistance who have it even worse. They have to maintain appearances despite everything. Hair styled despite no products. Makeup applied despite no cosmetics. Looking too unkempt makes them memorable. Looking too put together makes them suspicious. They walk an impossible line. You saw one get caught last month. She had made a mistake. Wore lipstick to a meeting. Real lipstick. Where did she get real lipstick? The Gestapo wanted to know. They arrested her outside a cafe. She screamed that it was her grandmother's, that she had saved it from before the war. Maybe that was true. It did not matter. She looked suspicious. That was enough. You never saw her again. So you dress in your threadbare clothes. You button your patched jacket. You tie your rope belt. You slip your wooden-soled shoes onto your sockless feet because socks are a luxury you cannot afford. You become Marcel Fontaine. Boring. Poor. Invisible. And you hope that is enough. Chapter 6. The work that never ends. The textile warehouse is real. The job is real. You actually work there 8 hours a day because your cover story needs to be bulletproof. You arrive at 7 in the morning. The warehouse is massive. 3 stories of fabric bolts, thread spools, and crates full of material that used to make clothing and now makes German uniforms. Everything here is for the occupation. The French textile industry is under German control. What you produce goes to Wehrmacht supply depots. Your job is inventory clerk. You count things, record things, move things from one place to another. It is mind-numbing work designed to crush your soul 1 minute at a time, which is perfect. Nobody pays attention to the inventory clerk. You are furniture. Your supervisor is Monsieur Blanchard. He is 60 years old. Fat. Collaborator. He wears a small Vichy France pin on his lapel. The Vichy government is the puppet regime that pretends to run France while taking orders from Berlin. Blanchard loves Vichy. He loves order. He loves the Germans because they brought stability and he profits from it. He watches you constantly. Not because he suspects you of resistance activity, but because he suspects everyone of stealing. Fabric is valuable. Thread is valuable. Even buttons are valuable. If workers steal inventory, that comes out of his bonus. So he watches with small, piggy eyes and writes down discrepancies in a leather notebook. You count fabric bolts. The warehouse is cold. Unheated except for a small stove in the office where Blanchard sits. Your fingers go numb. You blow on them. Keep counting. 147 bolts of gray wool. 83 bolts of canvas. 62 bolts of cotton that feels like sandpaper. The other workers barely speak. Speaking requires energy and trust. Nobody has either. You know their faces but not their names. Or you know their names but nothing about them. Henri works in shipping. Marie handles thread inventory. Claude operates the freight elevator. These are not friends. These are fellow prisoners in the factory of occupation. Lunch break is 30 minutes. You eat your pathetic meal of bread and water in the corner of the loading dock. Alone. Being social is dangerous. Friendships mean conversations. Conversations mean accidentally revealing something. A fact that does not match your cover story. An opinion that sounds too educated for a warehouse clerk. A word choice that seems wrong. So you eat alone, chewing slowly, making the bread last, watching the door, always watching the door. At 2 in the afternoon, a German officer arrives. He wears the uniform of a Wehrmacht quartermaster. He has a checklist. He is auditing the inventory. This happens once a month. Random, unpredictable, terrifying. You continue working. Do not look up. Do not make eye contact. The officer walks through the warehouse with Blanchard following like a pet dog. They are talking in German. You understand German, but you cannot let that show. You keep your face blank. Your posture subservient. The officer stops near you. He looks at the fabric bolts you have counted. He checks them against a list. He nods. Satisfied. He says something to Blanchard in German. Something about quotas being met. Blanchard laughs. That high-pitched sycophant laugh that makes you want to put your fist through his face. They move on. You exhale slowly. Just another encounter. Just another moment of danger that passed without incident. The workday ends at 6. You clock out using a punch card that records your hours. The card is another piece of evidence that Marcel Fontaine exists, that he is real, that he is just a boring warehouse clerk who poses no threat to anyone. But tonight you cannot go home. Tonight is the operation, the ammunition train derailment. You have to meet the team at the safe house at 8, which means you have 2 hours to walk across Lyon without being followed. 2 hours to make sure no one is watching. 2 hours to prepare yourself mentally for what comes next. You leave the warehouse and immediately start the surveillance detection route. Walk 4 blocks north, double back through an alley, cut through a market, stop at a tobacco shop and buy nothing. Just browse. Watch the windows. Watch for reflections. Anyone following would have to stay close in the narrow streets. You would spot them. Nothing. The streets are full of the usual foot traffic. Workers heading home. German patrols. Collaborators dining at restaurants that serve food you cannot afford. You blend into the crowd. Another gray face in a city full of gray faces. The safe house is in a residential district. An apartment above a butcher shop. The butcher is part of the network. He provides alibis, hides people, passes messages. His shop is a perfect cover because people come and go constantly. You arrive at 7:45, climb the narrow stairs, knock 3 times, pause, twice more. The door opens. You slip inside. Welcome to your other job, the one that might get you killed tonight. Chapter 7. The cold that kills. Let us talk about the cold. The kind of cold that seeps into your bones and never leaves. The kind of cold that makes you forget what warmth feels like. It is January now. Winter in occupied France is brutal. There is no heating. The coal ration is about 2 kilograms per week. That is enough to heat your apartment for maybe 2 hours per day if you are lucky. Most people save it for cooking. Eating is more important than warmth. Your apartment is always cold. The walls are thin. The windows are single-pane glass that does nothing to keep out the wind. You stuff newspaper into the cracks, but it does not help much. The temperature inside is maybe 5 degrees warmer than outside, which means it is often below freezing. You sleep in all your clothes, jacket, trousers, shoes. You pile everything you own on top of yourself. A thin blanket, your spare shirt, a coat you found in the trash. It is not enough. You wake up multiple times per night shivering so hard your teeth chatter. Your muscles are exhausted from shivering. Shivering burns calories you do not have. Your breath makes clouds. Even inside, even under the blankets, you can see your breath all the time. The moisture freezes on the windows in elaborate patterns. Beautiful ice crystals that remind you how close death is. Hypothermia is a real threat. People freeze to death in their apartments every winter. Old people mostly, but also children. Anyone weak. Anyone whose body cannot generate enough heat to survive. The cold makes everything harder. Your hands do not work properly. Your fingers are stiff, numb. You drop things. Simple tasks take twice as long. Tying your shoes is a 5-minute ordeal. Your fingers will not cooperate. Chilblains are universal. Those painful, itchy swellings on your fingers and toes caused by repeated exposure to cold. They crack and bleed. They itch so badly you want to scratch them raw. But scratching makes them worse. Infected chilblains can lead to gangrene. Gangrene leads to amputation or death. You see people on the street with their hands tucked into their armpits, trying to preserve warmth. Their faces are red and chapped from the wind. Their lips are cracked and bleeding. Everyone looks the same. Cold. Miserable. Defeated. The Germans do not seem cold. They have heated offices, heated barracks, warm food, proper winter uniforms with thick wool and insulated boots. They walk through the frozen streets like the cold does not exist. Meanwhile, French people shuffle along in threadbare coats and cardboard-soled shoes. This is psychological warfare. The Germans could allow more coal rations. They choose not to. They could allow warmer clothing distributions. They choose not to. Keeping the population cold and uncomfortable is strategic. Cold people are weak people. Weak people do not resist. But you have to resist. So you endure the cold. You learn to function despite it. You train yourself to ignore the shivering. to work with numb fingers, to think clearly even when your body is screaming that it needs warmth. The safe house has a small stove. Someone managed to scrounge enough fuel for a fire tonight. The warmth is almost painful. When you first step inside, your frozen skin burns as blood flow returns. Your fingers throb. Your toes feel like they are being stabbed with needles. The team is already there. 6 people you know by code names: Antoine, Claude, Marie, Philippe, Georges, Simone. You have worked with them before. You trust them as much as you trust anyone. Which is to say, partially. Trust is rationed like everything else. The briefing begins. The ammunition train will pass through Lyon at 0200 hours. There is a curve in the tracks outside the city where the train will slow down. That is where you will plant the charges. The plastic explosive you carried from the cemetery, plus additional charges from other members. The plan is simple. Place the explosives. Set the timers for a 30-minute delay. Be gone before the train arrives. The explosion will derail the train. The ammunition will cook off in a massive secondary explosion. German logistics will be disrupted for days. But there are risks. German patrols have increased lately. The Gestapo has been making arrests. Someone is talking. Someone in the resistance network is informing. You do not know who. That is the terrifying part. Could be anyone. Even someone in this room. You look at the faces around you. Antoine seems nervous. He keeps touching his pockets, checking his watch. Is that normal nervousness, or is he worried because he tipped off the Germans? Claude is too calm, almost serene. Is that confidence, or is he relaxed because he knows you are walking into a trap? Paranoia is survival. Trust is death. This is the mathematics of resistance. The team synchronizes watches. You have cheap pocket watches bought from street vendors. They are not accurate, but they are good enough. The operation begins at 0100. You move out in pairs. 10-minute intervals. Never together. Never obvious. You and Marie will place the first charge. Philippe and Simone will place the second. Antoine and Claude will place the third and serve as lookouts. Marie pulls on a thin coat. She is 23 years old. Pretty in a way that makes her valuable to the resistance. German soldiers do not suspect pretty girls. She has seduced Wehrmacht officers for information. Smiled and laughed while mentally cataloging everything they said. She is braver than anyone you know. Outside, the cold hits like a fist. The temperature has dropped further. Your breath is a white cloud. The streets are empty. Curfew is in effect. Being out after 9 without papers is an automatic arrest. You have forged papers that claim you are a night shift worker at a hospital. Marie has papers claiming she is a nurse. The forgeries are good but not perfect. You walk through streets lit only by moonlight. The blackout is total. No street lights. No lights in windows. The city is dark and silent and frozen. Your footsteps sound impossibly loud on the cobblestones. You are sure someone will hear. Someone will look out their window. Someone will call the Gestapo. But nobody does. The streets remain empty. You reach the rail yard on the outskirts of the city. The tracks run through an industrial area. Factories. Warehouses. All dark. All abandoned at this hour. The cold makes the explosives harder to work with. The plastique is stiff. Your fingers are too numb to feel the detonators properly. Marie has to do most of the work. Her fingers are smaller, more nimble. She plants the charge against the rail joint, sets the timer. 30 minutes. She checks it twice. You hear something. A sound. Boots on gravel. German boots. Patrol. You freeze. Marie freezes. You are 30 meters from cover. Too far to run. Too exposed to hide. The patrol is getting closer. 2 soldiers. Maybe 3. You can see their silhouettes against the moonlight. Marie makes a decision. She pulls her coat closed. Fixes her hair. She walks toward the patrol. Confident. Smiling. You hear her voice. Flirtatious. She is asking for directions. Claiming she is lost. The soldiers stop. One of them laughs. They are talking to her. Distracted. You move. Quiet. Fast. You slip behind a warehouse wall. You can still hear Marie's voice, still hear the soldiers laughing. She is buying you time, risking herself to save the operation. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Finally, you hear footsteps walking away. The patrol is leaving. Marie rejoins you. Her face is pale but determined. She does not say anything, does not need to. You both know how close that was. The explosive is set. The timer is running. You have 20 minutes to get clear. You move fast, back through the industrial district, back toward the safe streets, back toward the temporary safety of your cold apartment. The cold is your enemy tonight, but so is everything else. Chapter 8. The water you can't drink. Water. Something you probably do not think about. Turn on a tap. Fill a glass. Drink. Simple. Except there are no taps in occupied France. Not ones that work reliably. Not ones that deliver clean water. Your apartment has a sink. The sink has a faucet. The faucet delivers water approximately 3 hours per day. Sometimes in the morning. Sometimes in the afternoon. Sometimes not at all. The schedule is unpredictable. Broken. Like everything else. When water does flow, it comes out brown. Rust-colored from old pipes that have not been maintained in years. It smells like metal and rot. You let it run until it clears a little. It never fully clears. You fill every container you own. Bottles, pots, bowls, anything that can hold water. Because in 4 hours, the water will stop again. The water is not safe to drink without boiling. The municipal water system is compromised. Sewage contamination is common. Typhoid outbreaks happen regularly. Cholera is a constant threat. But boiling water requires fuel, and fuel is rationed. So you make a calculation. Risk drinking contaminated water or use your precious coal to boil it. Most people drink it unboiled. Then they get sick. Diarrhea, vomiting, fever, dehydration. Some recover. Some do not. The hospitals are overwhelmed and undersupplied. Doctors are scarce. Medicine is reserved for Germans and collaborators. If you are just a regular French citizen and you get sick, you probably die. You boil your water when you can. Heat a pot on your small stove. Watch the precious coal burn. Wait for the bubbles that signal boiling. Let it cool. Drink the flat, metallic-tasting liquid that is at least probably safe. Probably. But even boiled water is not enough. You are chronically dehydrated. Everyone is. The food rations are dry. The work is physical. You sweat despite the cold because fear makes you sweat. You need more water than you can safely obtain. The public fountains still work in some parts of the city. People line up with buckets and bottles. Wait their turn. Fill their containers. Carry them home. Water is heavy. 10 liters weighs 10 kilograms. Carrying it any distance is exhausting when you are already weak from malnutrition. There is a fountain near your apartment. You use it sometimes. The water there is clearer, colder, comes from a source outside the city. But the line is always long, and standing in line is dangerous. The Gestapo likes to raid lines, check papers, search bags, arrest anyone suspicious. You saw them arrest a man at the fountain last week. He had been standing in line for 20 minutes. Patient, quiet. A Gestapo officer demanded his papers. The man produced them. The officer studied them, found something wrong. A date that did not match. A signature that looked forged. The man tried to explain. The officer drew his pistol and shot him in the head. Right there, in front of everyone. The body collapsed into the fountain. Blood turned the water red. The officer walked away. The line reformed. People kept filling their buckets, stepping around the corpse. This is occupied France. This is normal. Washing is almost impossible. You need water to wash. You need clean water to wash effectively. You have neither, so you do what you can. A damp cloth, cold water, minimal soap. You prioritize your hands and face because those are visible. Everything else has to wait. Laundry is a nightmare. You need water. You need soap. You need a place to dry clothes. You have none of these in adequate supply. So you wear clothes until they are so filthy they start to rot. Then you try to wash them in cold water with soap that barely lathers. The clothes never get truly clean. They just get wet. Then you hang them in your freezing apartment where they take days to dry. Sometimes they freeze solid. You have to wait for them to thaw before you can wear them. Women have it worse. Menstruation requires water for hygiene, requires clean cloth or sanitary materials that do not exist. Women suffer in silence, deal with infections, deal with embarrassment, deal with pain, all while maintaining the same impossible facade of normalcy. The resistance operation tonight will require water. You will need to wash the plastique residue off your hands. Explosive residue is detectable. Trained dogs can smell it. Gestapo chemists can test for it. If you are stopped with explosive residue on your hands, you are done. After planting the charge, you and Marie separate. You head to a safe house in a different district. A basement apartment with a working sink. The water there is cold but clean. You scrub your hands until they are raw. Soap, water, scrub, repeat. The skin on your knuckles cracks and bleeds. You keep scrubbing. Marie does the same. She is methodical, thorough. She knows what is at stake. When she is satisfied, she dries her hands on a rag and examines them under candlelight. Clean. No visible residue. Probably safe. Probably. You hear it then. The explosion. Distant. A deep boom that rattles the windows. Then a second explosion. Bigger. The ammunition cooking off. Success. The train is destroyed. German logistics are disrupted. A small victory in an endless war. But you cannot celebrate. Celebration is suspicious. You wash your hands one more time. Dry them carefully. Put on your worn jacket. Become Marcel Fontaine again. Just a worker who was visiting a friend. Nothing unusual. Nothing memorable. Outside you can hear sirens. German response teams. Fire trucks. The reprisal will come tomorrow. Hostages will be shot. Maybe 50. Maybe more. Their blood will be on your hands along with the explosive residue you just washed away. You walk home through dark streets. Past the fountain where a corpse was pulled out this morning. Past checkpoints where soldiers are now on high alert. Past everything that represents occupation and oppression. And you think about water. About how something so simple became so complicated. About how nothing is simple anymore. About how survival is a constant negotiation between risk and necessity. You make it home. Climb the stairs. Lock your door. Collapse onto your bed fully dressed. The cold immediately starts seeping into your bones. You pull your thin blanket over yourself. Close your eyes. Tomorrow you will need water again. Tomorrow you will boil what you can and risk drinking what you cannot. Tomorrow you will carry buckets and wait in lines and hope the Gestapo does not shoot anyone else in front of you. Tomorrow. Always tomorrow. One more day of this impossible life. Chapter 9. The medicine that doesn't exist. You wake up with a fever. You can feel it before you open your eyes. That deep bone heat that signals your body is fighting something. Your throat is raw. Your head pounds. Every muscle aches. This is bad. Being sick in occupied France is a death sentence. There are no antibiotics for civilians. No proper hospitals. No doctors making house calls unless you are wealthy or connected. And wealthy, connected people do not live in apartments like yours. You try to sit up. The room spins. Your stomach lurches. You make it to the basin just in time to vomit. Nothing but bile and bread. Your body has nothing else to give. The retching leaves you weak and shaking. Fever means infection. Infection means you touched something contaminated. Drank bad water. Ate spoiled food. Breathed in tuberculosis from the man coughing in the apartment below. Could be anything. The city is a petri dish of disease. The smart thing would be to stay home. Rest. Let your body fight. But you cannot stay home. Marcel Fontaine has a job. Missing work is suspicious. Monsieur Blanchard keeps attendance records. Missing even one day without a doctor's note raises questions. And getting a doctor's note means finding a doctor willing to see you and having money to pay them. You have neither. So you drag yourself out of bed. Your legs shake. You dress in your usual clothes. The The fabric feels like sandpaper against your feverish skin. Every movement is agony. But you move anyway. You have to. The walk to the warehouse takes twice as long as usual. You have to stop every few blocks to rest. Lean against walls. Catch your breath. People avoid you. They can see you are sick. Sick people are dangerous. Sick people spread disease. You are a walking contamination zone. You make it to work somehow. Clock in. Begin your shift. The counting. The recording. The endless inventory. Your hands shake so badly you can barely write. The numbers blur. You lose track. Have to start over. Blanchard notices. Of course he notices. He waddles over with his notebook. Asks if you are unwell. You say no. Just tired. He does not believe you, but he does not care enough to pursue it. As long as you show up, you are useful. If you collapse, he will simply have you removed and replaced. Lunchtime. You cannot eat. The thought of food makes you nauseous. You sit on the loading dock and try not to vomit again. Try not to pass out. The world tilts and sways. Colors are too bright. Sounds are too loud. A German officer walks past. He glances at you. You must look terrible because he actually stops. Asks in French if you need help. This is a trap. It has to be a trap. You say no. You are fine. Just tired. He shrugs and walks on. You exhale slowly. The afternoon is a blur. You move through it on autopilot. Muscle memory doing the work your brain cannot manage. Count. Record. Move. Count. Record. Move. Over and over until the shift ends. Walking home is nearly impossible. Your fever has gotten worse. You are shivering despite sweating. Your clothes are soaked. The cold wind hits you and you shake so hard your teeth chatter. You have to stop every half block now. Rest against walls. Against fences. Anything to stay upright. A woman sees you struggling. She crosses the street to avoid you. You do not blame her. You would do the same. You finally reach your building. The stairs are insurmountable. 3 flights. Might as well be 3 mountains. You crawl up them. Actually crawl. Hands and knees. 1 step at a time. Nobody opens their doors to help. Helping means involvement. Involvement means risk. Inside your apartment, you collapse. Do not make it to the bed. Just fall on the floor near the door. The floor is cold. Hard. You lie there shivering and burning simultaneously. Your body at war with itself. There is no medicine. No aspirin. No fever reducers. Nothing. The pharmacy has nothing for sale unless you have German authorization or can pay black market prices. A single aspirin costs more than you make in a week. You have no authorization, no money, no options. So you lie there, wait for your body to either win or lose. This is medicine in occupied France. This is healthcare. Your immune system against whatever is trying to kill you. May the best organism win. You drift in and out of consciousness. Fever dreams mix with reality. You see your mother. She died 2 years ago. Before the war. Before everything turned to nightmare. She is telling you to drink water. You try. Crawl to the sink. The water is not running. Of course it is not running. You collapse again. Time means nothing. Hours pass. Maybe days. You cannot tell. Light comes and goes. The cold never leaves. At some point there is knocking. The signal knock. Resistance. You cannot respond. Cannot move. The knocking stops. They leave. They think you abandoned them. Or you were arrested. Or you are dead. All reasonable conclusions. More time. The fever breaks. Or maybe it does not. Maybe you just stop noticing. Your body is numb. Exhausted. You have not eaten in how long? 2 days? 3? Drinking water became impossible because the sink still has no water and you cannot make it down 3 flights of stairs to the public fountain. You should be dead. Many people die from infections like this, especially now, especially here. But somehow you are still breathing, still conscious, barely. The door opens. You did not lock it. Too weak. Marie is there. She found you. She has water. Real water. Clean water in a bottle. She helps you sit up. Helps you drink. The water is the best thing you have ever tasted. It hurts going down your raw throat, but you do not care. She has bread. Actual bread. Not the sawdust kind. Real bread from the black market. She breaks off pieces and feeds them to you like a child. You chew slowly. Your stomach accepts it. Barely. She has aspirin. 2 tablets. She got them from somewhere. You do not ask where. Do not want to know what she had to do to get them. You swallow them with water. She helps you to your bed. Covers you with both your blanket and her coat. Sits with you. Marie saves your life that night. Not with medicine. Not with doctors. Just with water and bread and aspirin and presents. Human kindness in a world designed to crush it. You sleep. Real sleep. Not fever dreams. You wake up 12 hours later. The fever is gone. Mostly. You are weak. Shaking. But alive. Marie is still there. Asleep in the chair by your bed. Keeping watch. This is the resistance. Not just sabotage and espionage. This, taking care of each other when the system is designed to let you die. Fighting death with whatever scraps of humanity you can find. You owe her your life. She owes you hers from the rail yard. This is the currency you trade in now. Debts of survival. Welcome to occupied France, where medicine is a memory and staying alive is a miracle. Chapter 10. The Hierarchy of Hell. Let us talk about the social structure. The invisible ladder that determines who lives and who dies. Who eats and who starves. Who is safe and who is hunted. At the top are the Germans. The occupation forces. They live in a parallel reality where food is plentiful and heat is abundant and life is almost normal. They commandeered the best buildings. The best apartments. They eat in restaurants that serve real food with real ingredients. They have access to medicine. Clean water. Everything. Below them are the collaborators. The French citizens who decided survival meant cooperation. Some truly believe in Vichy France and the New Order. Some are just pragmatists. They work for the Germans as translators, administrators, informants. In exchange, they get better rations. Protection. A chance to live almost normally. You hate them more than you hate the Germans. At least the Germans are honest about being enemies. Blanchard is a collaborator. He profits from the occupation. His textile warehouse supplies the German military. He lives well, eats well. His apartment has heat. His family is safe. He traded French dignity for German favor and he sleeps soundly. Below the collaborators are the ordinary French. The masses. The people trying to survive without collaboration. Trying to maintain some shred of honor while the world crumbles around them. They suffer. They starve. They die in silence. This is most of France. This is you. Or rather, this is who you are pretending to be. At the very bottom are the hunted. Jews, communists, resistance members, homosexuals, Roma, anyone the regime has declared undesirable. They live in constant terror, hiding, running, knowing every day might be their last. You are secretly one of them. One mistake and you drop to the bottom. One slip and you are hunted. The Gestapo maintains this structure through terror. Public executions serve as lessons. Hostage shootings demonstrate consequences. Torture creates informants who sustain the system through betrayal. It is elegant in its brutality. You navigate this hierarchy every day. At work, you are below Blanchard. You nod. You defer. You accept his authority. This protects you. Being subservient makes you invisible. At checkpoints, you are below the German soldiers. You show proper respect. Answer questions with the appropriate fear. Do not make eye contact unless ordered to. This is survival. But in the resistance, the hierarchy is different. There you have value, skills, trust. You are not Marcel Fontaine, inventory clerk. You are someone who places explosives and carries out operations. Someone who fights back. This identity is secret, hidden, but it sustains you, gives you purpose. The tension between these identities is exhausting. By day, you are weak, subservient, forgettable. By night, you are dangerous, active, engaged in warfare. Switching between them requires constant mental discipline. There are people who exist in between. the black marketeers who sell to everyone, the doctors who treat Germans and resistance fighters alike for the right price, the priests who hide fugitives in church basements while saying mass for German officers, everyone navigating impossible moral terrain. You see the full spectrum at the market. What passes for a market anyway? Stalls selling pathetic vegetables and ersatz goods. A German officer buying cheese that should not exist. A collaborator getting meat that regular people cannot access. An ordinary Frenchwoman staring at prices she cannot afford. A resistance member pretending to shop while watching for tails. The market is also where you pick up messages sometimes. There is a vegetable seller who is part of the network. Madame Rousseau. She is 60 years old and absolutely fearless. She passes coded messages hidden inside heads of cabbage. You buy a cabbage. Pay with exact change. She hands you your vegetable. Inside, wrapped in wax paper, is the next operation briefing. Today you need to pick up a message. You join the queue at Madame Rousseau's stall. 3 people ahead of you. An old man, a mother with 2 children, a woman in a nice coat. Too nice. You study her. The coat is pre-war quality. Where did she get it? Is she collaborator? Gestapo informant? Black marketeer? She catches you looking. Smiles. You smile back. Neutral. Forgettable. She turns away. The queue moves forward. Your turn. Madame Rousseau looks tired. Everyone looks tired. But her eyes are sharp. Alert. You ask for cabbage. She nods. Selects one from the pile. A specific one. Marked with a small scratch on the base. She hands it to you. You pay. The transaction takes 15 seconds. To any observer, it is unremarkable. Just another hungry person buying meager vegetables. You walk away with your cabbage. Inside is information that could get you killed. Information about the next target, the next operation, the next risk. This is the resistance hierarchy, based not on position but on courage, on willingness to die for something larger than survival. The people at the top of this hierarchy are the bravest, the most committed. Many are dead. The rest will probably die too. But they choose this. Every day they choose it. You choose it too, despite the fear, despite the cold and hunger and constant danger. Because the alternative is accepting the occupation, becoming Blanchard, trading dignity for bread. Tonight there is a meeting, a different safe house, a different group. You are moving up the resistance hierarchy, being trusted with more sensitive information, more dangerous operations. This is both honor and death sentence. The meeting is in a wealthy neighborhood. Ironic, the rich continue being rich even under occupation. Their apartments have heat. Their pantries have food. Some collaborate actively. Some just stay neutral and profit from both sides. But a few use their resources to help. Their large apartments make good safe houses. Their money buys supplies. Their social connections provide intelligence. This safe house belongs to a banker named Duchamp. He is 50 years old, wealthy, respected, secretly funding the resistance. His wife knows. His children do not. If the Gestapo discovers this, he loses everything. But he does it anyway. You arrive at the address. A beautiful building, 5 stories, ornate facade, doorman. You do not belong here. This is obvious. But you have papers identifying you as Duchamp's distant cousin visiting from the countryside. The story is weak, but it is something. The doorman barely glances at you, waves you through. You take the stairs to the 4th floor. Knock the signal. The door opens. Inside, 12 people. This is a cell meeting. Different cells do not interact. If one is compromised, the others survive. You know 2 people here, Marie, Antoine. The others are strangers. This is intentional. Compartmentalization. If you are captured and tortured, you can only betray what you know. Knowing less protects everyone. The meeting begins. A man you do not know leads it. He is probably 40, thin, intense. He speaks in a low, controlled voice. The next operation is big. Bigger than rail sabotage. They are planning to assassinate a Gestapo officer. The room goes silent. Assassination is different from sabotage. Sabotage disrupts. Assassination invites massive retaliation. The Germans will execute hundreds, maybe thousands. They will round up entire neighborhoods, shoot men in the streets, deport women and children. But this particular Gestapo officer has personally tortured and killed over 200 resistance members. He is a master interrogator, brutal, creative, evil in its purest form. Letting him continue means more deaths, more suffering. The calculation is brutal but clear. You are being asked to volunteer, to be part of the assassination team. This is not an order. This is a choice. You can refuse, walk away, no judgment. This is too dangerous to force on anyone. You look around the room. Marie raises her hand. Volunteers. Of course she does. 2 others volunteer. Men you do not know. They look terrified but determined. You raise your hand. You volunteer. Because if you do not, Marie will die attempting this without enough support. Because stopping this Gestapo officer is worth the reprisal. Because you cannot live with yourself if you choose safety over necessity. The man leading the meeting nods, acknowledges your choice, explains the plan. The Gestapo officer travels in a staff car every morning. Same route, same time, predictable. The assassination will happen in 3 days. Car bomb, remote detonation, simple, brutal, necessary. The hierarchy of hell has many levels. You just chose to descend further into it. Chose to become not just a saboteur but an assassin. The moral weight of this will stay with you forever. But you made the choice, and you will live with it, however long living lasts. Chapter 11. The danger that never sleeps. Danger is not an event. It is a condition, a constant state of being. Let me explain what this means. You wake up every morning knowing today might be the day you die. Not might in the abstract way everyone faces mortality. Might in the concrete, probable way. The Gestapo might knock on your door. A neighbor might report you. A checkpoint search might find something incriminating. An informant might betray your cell. Someone might recognize you from a previous operation. The possibilities are endless. This constant danger rewires your brain. You develop hypervigilance. You notice everything. The car parked in the wrong spot. The stranger reading a newspaper who is in the same cafe as yesterday. The sound of footsteps behind you that stop when you stop. The person asking too many questions. The friend who suddenly seems nervous. Paranoia becomes rational. Trust becomes luxury. Every interaction is analyzed for threat potential. Is that shopkeeper being too friendly? Why is Blanchard asking about my schedule? Why did that German soldier look at me twice? The questions never stop. Sleep is difficult. You wake at every sound. Footsteps in the hallway. A car door slamming outside. Voices speaking German. Your body is in constant fight or flight mode. Adrenaline courses through you even during moments of relative calm. This exhausts you, wears you down, makes you prone to mistakes. And mistakes kill. A moment of inattention. A word choice that reveals too much. A reaction that seems wrong. The Gestapo trains officers to spot these tells. They know what guilt looks like, what fear looks like, what someone hiding something looks like. You have to control every micro-expression, every gesture, every word. The danger is also random. You can do everything right and still get caught. Sometimes the Gestapo just sweeps neighborhoods, arrests everyone, sorts them out later. Sometimes informants lie to save themselves. Sometimes you are just in the wrong place at the wrong time. There was a woman in your building, Madame Laurent. She was not resistance, not political, just an ordinary widow trying to survive. One day the Gestapo came for her, dragged her out screaming. Someone had told them she was hiding a Jewish family. She was not. The informant had the wrong address. By the time they realized the mistake, she had been interrogated. Broken. She died in custody. Innocent. Random. Dead. This randomness is part of the terror strategy. If danger followed logical patterns, people could avoid it. But when anyone can be arrested at any time for any reason or no reason, everyone lives in constant fear. This fear creates compliance, creates informants, creates the surveillance state where neighbors watch neighbors and everyone suspects everyone. You learn to compartmentalize the fear, push it into a mental box, function despite it, but it leaks out, in nightmares, in your shaking hands, in the way you cannot ever fully relax. Your shoulders are always tense, your jaw always clenched, your stomach always tight. Your body is trying to tell you this is not sustainable. But you sustain it anyway because the alternative is giving up. The 3 days before the assassination are the worst. You go to work, do your job, act normal, but your mind is elsewhere, running through the plan, identifying failure points, imagining arrest, imagining torture, imagining the moment the car bomb detonates and kills not just the target but potentially innocent bystanders. The driver, pedestrians, children. You try not to think about the children. Focus on the mission. The Gestapo officer has to die. His death will save lives. More lives than it costs. This is the math you repeat to yourself. But math does not silence the voice asking, what if you are wrong? What if the reprisals are worse than you imagine? What if this makes everything worse? The night before the operation, you cannot sleep at all. You lie in bed staring at the ceiling. Every sound is amplified. Every shadow is a threat. You get up, pace, sit, stand, check your watch. Hours pass like years. At 0300, you give up on sleep. Sit by your window. Watch the dark street below. A German patrol passes. 2 soldiers, walking slowly, smoking cigarettes. Their cigarette tips glow orange in the darkness. They stop directly below your window. Your heart hammers. This is it. They know. They are coming for you. But they are just talking. You cannot hear what they are saying. After 5 minutes, they move on. You exhale. False alarm. Just paranoia. Just the constant danger playing tricks on your exhausted mind. Dawn comes. Gray light filtering through grimy windows. The city wakes slowly. People shuffling to work. German vehicles on patrol. Everything looks normal. But normal is an illusion. Underneath is violence, fear, death waiting for a moment of weakness. You dress, become Marcel Fontaine, go to work. The warehouse is the same. The work is the same. Blanchard is the same. Everything is the same except you are about to help kill a man and you might die attempting it and everything might fall apart. Lunchtime. You do not eat. Cannot. Your stomach is a knot. Marie meets you on the loading dock. She looks calm. Too calm. She is better at this than you. Better at hiding fear. Better at functioning under pressure. She hands you a newspaper. The signal. The operation is confirmed. Tonight at 1800 hours. The Gestapo officer's car. The bomb is already placed. You just need to be in position to detonate it. The afternoon crawls by. Each minute is an hour. Each hour is a day. You count fabric bolts, but the numbers mean nothing. Your mind is running through scenarios. Escape routes. Cover stories. Ways this could go wrong. At 1700, you clock out. Walk toward the meeting point. A cafe 3 blocks from the assassination site. The cafe is crowded. Good. Crowds provide cover. You order ersatz coffee. Sit near the window. Wait. Antoine arrives. Then Marie. Then the other 2 volunteers whose names you still do not know. Everyone orders something. Everyone pretends to be just people having coffee after work. But the tension is visible to anyone looking closely. Fortunately, nobody is looking closely. The plan is simple. The Gestapo officer's car passes at 1800 hours. Every day. Same route. When the car approaches, one of the team will detonate the bomb remotely. Simple electrical switch. Press the button. Explosion. Death. But who presses the button? Who takes responsibility for killing? This was decided at the planning meeting. Marie volunteered. Of course she did. She will be the one. The triggerman. Or trigger woman. The person who commits murder for the cause. 1800 hours approaches. Marie stands. Walks to the cafe bathroom. Comes back with the detonator hidden in her coat pocket. She sits by the window, watching the street. Waiting. You watch her. Her face is stone. No emotion. No doubt. Just focus. This is what courage looks like. Not the absence of fear, but the will to act despite it. The car appears. Black. Official. Moving slowly through traffic. You can see the Gestapo officer in the back seat. Middle-aged. Gray hair. Ordinary looking. Evil does not always look like movie villains. Sometimes it looks like a bureaucrat in a nice suit. Marie's hand is in her pocket. On the detonator. The car is 30 meters away. 20 meters. 10 meters. She presses the button. Nothing happens. The car keeps moving. Past the cafe. Past the bomb. Marie presses again. Nothing. The detonator is not working. Equipment failure. The car disappears around a corner. The operation failed. The danger remains. And now you have to figure out why the bomb did not detonate and whether someone betrayed you and whether the Gestapo is coming. Welcome to the Resistance, where danger never sleeps and neither do you. Chapter 12. The moments of nothing. Let us talk about the waiting. The long stretches of time between operations when nothing happens and you are just existing. Trying to maintain sanity. Trying not to think about what comes next. The resistance is not constant action. It is mostly waiting. Waiting for orders. Waiting for supplies. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting to see if you were compromised. Waiting to find out if someone talked under torture. Waiting. Always waiting. These are the hardest times. When you have hours to think. To second guess. To imagine all the ways things could go wrong. To remember all the people who have died. To calculate your own chances of survival. The math is not good. After the failed assassination attempt, you return to your apartment. Alone. The investigation into why the bomb did not detonate will take days. Until then, you are supposed to lie low. Be normal. Do nothing suspicious. But being alone with your thoughts is torture. You replay the moment over and over. Marie pressing the button. Nothing happening. The car moving past. The target escaping. Failure. Now the Gestapo officer will increase security. The opportunity is gone. And worse, the bomb is still there. Unexploded. If the Germans find it, they will analyze it. Trace components. Maybe discover the supplier. Maybe roll up the entire network. You lie on your bed. Stare at the ceiling. Count the cracks in the plaster. There are 47. You have counted them before. Many times. There is nothing else to do. No radio. Radios are forbidden. The Germans confiscated them all. Anyone caught with a radio is arrested immediately. So there is no news. No music. No connection to the outside world. Just silence and your thoughts. No books except the few you managed to keep hidden. The Germans burned books they considered subversive. Which was most books. Literature. Philosophy. Anything that might inspire independent thinking. The books you have left are boring. Safe. Pre-approved. You have read them so many times you have memorized passages. No entertainment. Theaters show German propaganda films. Cinemas are for collaborators and Germans. Regular people cannot afford tickets anyway. And being seen at entertainment venues draws attention. Suggests you have money. Suggests connections. Better to stay invisible. So you wait. In your cold apartment. Hungry. Afraid. Alone. Sometimes you try to remember what life was like before. Before the war. Before the occupation. France had problems then too. Economic struggles. Political division. But there was freedom. The ability to speak your mind. To move freely. To make choices about your own life. That seems like fantasy now. Like stories of a world that never existed. You had a family before. Parents. A sister. They lived in Paris. You have not heard from them in 8 months. Mail is censored and unreliable. Letters disappear. Messages are intercepted. You do not know if they are alive. You cannot find out. All you can do is hope. Your sister was 17 when you last saw her. Pretty. Smart. Rebellious. You told her to be careful. To not draw attention. To survive. You wonder if she listened. You wonder if she joined the resistance too. You wonder if she is dead. These thoughts are poison. They accomplish nothing except making you sad, making you careless. You push them away. Focus on the present, on survival, on the next task. But the waiting gives thoughts time to seep in. Memories, regrets, what ifs. You could have fled France. Before the occupation, before it was too late. You could be in London now. Or America. Safe. Alive. But you stayed. Chose to stay. Chose to fight. Now you are trapped. Living this half-life. Neither fully alive nor dead. Just existing in the gap between. The hours pass. Day becomes night. You do not light a candle. Cannot afford the fuel. You sit in darkness. Listening to sounds. Madame Dubois coughing next door. The Mercier family arguing. German vehicles passing outside. The city breathing around you. All of it indifferent to your suffering. You hear footsteps in the hallway. They stop outside your door. Your heart hammers. This is it. Gestapo. They found out. You look around for an escape. There is none. 3rd floor. Window overlooks the street. Jumping would kill you. The footsteps move on. Just a neighbor. False alarm. This is what the waiting does. Turns you into a bundle of nerves. Reactive. Jumpy. Constantly on edge. It wears you down mentally more than the actual operations. The operations at least have purpose. Direction. The waiting is just empty time filled with fear. You try to sleep. Cannot. Your mind will not stop. You get up. Pace. 5 steps to the window. 5 steps back. Over and over. Wearing a path in the floorboards. You have worn many paths. This apartment has seen many nights like this. At some point, exhaustion wins. You collapse on your bed. Sleep for a few hours. Wake to gray dawn. Another day. Same as yesterday. Same as tomorrow. Endless repetition. Endless waiting. This is the part they do not talk about when they talk about the resistance. They talk about heroic actions. Brave sabotage. Noble sacrifice. They do not talk about the long, empty hours. The crushing boredom mixed with constant terror. The feeling that your life is slipping away in a tiny apartment while the world moves on without you. You get up. Perform your morning routine, such as it is. Cold water. Threadbare clothes. The walk to work. The same walk you have walked 1,000 times. Past the same buildings. Same checkpoints. Same German soldiers. Everything is familiar. Nothing brings comfort. This is occupied France. This is the resistance. Not constant danger and excitement. Just mostly waiting. Existing. Trying not to lose your mind in the gaps between actions. Trying to remember why you fight. Trying to believe it matters. The waiting continues. Days, weeks, until the next operation. Until the next moment of purpose. Until you can feel alive again for a brief, terrifying instant before returning to the waiting. Always the waiting. Chapter 13. The letters you can't send. Communication. Something simple in normal times. Write a letter. Mail it. Done. But there is no normal here. There is only surveillance and censorship and suspicion. All mail is intercepted. The Germans read everything. They have offices full of people whose only job is to open letters, read them, analyze them for coded messages or suspicious content. Anything questionable gets flagged. The sender investigated. The recipient investigated. Both potentially arrested. So you cannot write honestly to anyone. Cannot tell your family you are alive. Cannot ask about their welfare. Cannot express any opinion about the occupation. Every letter has to be neutral, boring, safe. The weather is cold. I am working at the warehouse. I hope you are well. Nothing more. Nothing that could be interpreted as suspicious. Even those bland letters often do not arrive. They disappear into the censorship apparatus. Or they arrive months late. Or they arrive with sections blacked out. The Germans use thick ink that makes entire sentences unreadable. Sometimes you receive letters that are mostly black ink with a few visible words. Dear, hope, well, love. The rest is erased. You have not received mail from your family in 8 months. 8 months of silence. You do not know if they stopped writing or if the letters are being intercepted or if they are dead. All possibilities are equally likely, all equally terrible. You tried writing to your sister. A simple letter. Dear and, I hope this letter finds you well. I am still working in Lyon. The warehouse is busy. How is Paris? How are mother and father? Please write when you can. Your loving brother. Safe, bland, unthreatening. The letter never arrived. Or she never replied. You have no way to know which. There are other ways to send messages, but they are dangerous. The resistance has courier networks. People who physically carry letters between cities. Hidden in clothing, in packages, in places customs inspectors rarely search. But using these networks for personal mail is forbidden. Resources are limited. Risk is high. Personal messages are a luxury the resistance cannot afford. But you know people who work as couriers. Marie sometimes carries messages. You could ask her to deliver a letter to Paris, to find your family, to check if they are alive. But asking puts her at additional risk. She already risks her life constantly. Asking for a personal favor feels selfish. Wrong. So you do not ask. Instead, you live with uncertainty, with not knowing. This is harder than you expected. The human brain wants closure, wants answers. Not knowing creates a constant low-level anxiety that never fully goes away. Your family might be fine. They might be dead. They might be in a camp. They might have fled to Britain. You will probably never know. The Germans understand this torture. They deliberately create information blackouts, force families apart, prevent communication. People without connections are easier to control. Loneliness is a weapon. You hear about people sometimes. Through networks. Through whispers. Did you hear about the Duponts? Arrested. The Martins fled to Switzerland. The Lefebvre's son was shot for sabotage. News travels slowly, inaccurately. By the time you hear something, it might be months old. Might be false. Might be German disinformation designed to demoralize you. There is a message board at the market. People post notices, looking for information about Robert Mercier, last seen in Paris, June 1942. Seeking news of the Rousseau family from Lille. Dozens of notices. Hundreds. People desperately searching for information about loved ones. The notices yellow and fade. Few get responses. You consider posting your own notice. Seeking information about the Fontaine family from Paris. But using your real name is dangerous. Your identity as Marcel Fontaine, warehouse clerk, cannot have connections to a Paris family. The backstory says you are from Bordeaux. No family. Posting a notice would break your cover. Potential death sentence. So you write letters you cannot send. Keep them in a box under your bed. Letters to your sister, your parents, friends you used to have. You write about your life. The real one. Not the manufactured Marcel Fontaine life. The resistance work. The fear. The cold. The hunger. Everything you cannot say to anyone. Dear and, I am so cold. All the time. Cannot remember what warmth feels like. I cannot remember what real food tastes like. I am scared every day. Every moment. I see death everywhere. In the streets. In my dreams. I do not know how much longer I can do this. But I have to. Because if I stop, everything I have done means nothing. Everyone who died, died for nothing. So I continue. I continue and I am terrified. I love you. I hope you are safe. I hope I see you again. But I probably will not. Please remember me as I was before. Not as I am now. Your loving brother. You seal this letter. Add it to the box. The box has 43 letters now. All unsent. All never to be read. They are therapy. A way to process everything you cannot say aloud. But they are also evidence. If the Gestapo finds them during a search, you are done. The letters describe resistance activities. Use real names. Incriminate yourself and others. You should burn them. The smart thing. The safe thing. But you cannot. They are the only honest thing left in your life. The only place Marcel Fontaine does not exist. The only place you can be yourself. So you keep them. Hidden. Hoping they stay hidden. Communication in occupied France is impossible. Not difficult. Impossible. You are isolated, cut off, living in a bubble of fear and censorship where truth is dangerous and honesty is death. This isolation is part of the design. Keep people separated. Keep them uncertain. Keep them afraid. But humans need connection, need to be known, need to tell their story. So you write letters to ghosts, to people who might be dead, to a future that might never come. And you hope, against all logic, against all evidence, you hope that somehow, someday, someone will read these words and know you existed, know you fought, know you mattered. That hope is all you have left. Chapter 14. The Tools of Death. Let us talk about the equipment, the weapons, the tools you use to fight back. They are not impressive, not like the movies. They are makeshift, improvised, often barely functional. The plastique explosive you carried from the cemetery was military grade, stolen from a German depot by someone in the network you will never meet. Dangerous to transport, dangerous to store, dangerous to use. The detonators are even more temperamental. Sometimes they work, sometimes they do not, like the failed assassination attempt. Equipment failure, random chance, death or survival determined by faulty wiring. Your personal weapon is a pistol, a Label M 1892 revolver from the First World War. It is 40 years old. The bluing is worn off. The grip is cracked. It holds 6 rounds of ammunition. You have exactly 6 rounds. That is your entire supply. If you fire all 6, you have no way to get more. Ammunition is more valuable than gold, more difficult to obtain. You have never fired this pistol. Not once. Firing it would waste ammunition. Alert the Germans. Bring investigation. So you carry it hoping you never have to use it. But knowing if you do use it, it might not work. The mechanism might jam. The rounds might be duds. 40-year-old ammunition is unreliable. The pistol lives in a hiding spot behind a loose brick in your apartment wall. You cannot carry it daily. Being caught with a firearm is automatic execution. No trial. No questions. Caught with weapon equals death. So it stays hidden except during operations that specifically require it. Other members have different weapons. Rifles stolen from German armories. British weapons airdropped by the SOE, the Special Operations Executive. Homemade bombs constructed from fertilizer and gasoline. Every weapon is precious. Every bullet sacred. Marie has a knife. A kitchen knife sharpened to razor edge. She keeps it strapped to her inner thigh. She has used it twice. Once to kill a German soldier who discovered her carrying coded documents. Once to kill a collaborator who was about to betray the cell. She does not talk about either incident, but you have seen her clean the knife. Methodical, thorough, removing blood from steel. Her face shows nothing. Antoine has nothing. He is a technical specialist. His weapons are tools, wire cutters, detonators, timing devices. He builds bombs, sabotages machinery. His hands are steady, his mind sharp. He will probably die when something he builds explodes prematurely. He knows this, accepts it, continues building. The resistance cannot engage in open warfare. The Germans have tanks, artillery, trained soldiers, overwhelming force. Direct confrontation would be suicide. So you use asymmetric tactics, hit and run, sabotage, assassination, psychological warfare. Make the occupation expensive. Make every German soldier afraid. Make collaboration deadly. But these tactics require specific tools. And tools are difficult to acquire. Everything comes from theft or airdrop or improvisation. The British occasionally fly planes over France at night. Drop containers full of weapons and supplies. If you know where to look. If you can get there before the Germans. If the drop is not compromised. You participated in one supply drop retrieval. 3 months ago, November, the field was cold and dark. The plane flew low. You heard the engines. Then parachutes appeared. For containers. You and 5 others ran to collect them. Dragged them into the woods. Opened them. Inside, rifles, ammunition, plastique, detonators, false identity papers, money, and chocolate. Real chocolate. You had not seen real chocolate in 2 years. The team shared it. 1 square each. Tasted like hope. Like the outside world still existed. Like someone cared. But supply drops are rare. Dangerous. The Germans monitor for them. Have mobile patrols. If you are caught collecting airdropped weapons, the entire network is compromised. So you balance need against risk. Always calculating. Always weighing survival against mission success. Most of your tools are improvised. Molotov cocktails made from wine bottles and gasoline. The gasoline is stolen from German vehicles. Siphoned at night. Risky but necessary. The bottles are everywhere. Wine bottles are one of the few things France still has in abundance. Empty bottles. Reminders of better times. You learn to make a Molotov cocktail from Antoine. Fill bottle 3/4 with gasoline. Add sugar or soap to make it stick to targets. Stuff rag in top. Soak rag in fuel. Light. Throw. The bottle breaks. Gasoline spreads. Fire follows. Effective against vehicles. Against buildings. Against people. You have never thrown one. You have assembled 12. Stored them in the safe house basement. Waiting for when they are needed. Glass bottles full of fire. Amateur weapons for an amateur army. The Germans have sophisticated weapons. MP-40 submachine guns. Mauser rifles. MG-42 machine guns that can fire 1,200 rounds per minute. Grenades. Panzerfaust anti-tank weapons. Everything you do not have. Everything you cannot match. So you fight differently. A bomb in a railway junction does not require matching their firepower. Just knowledge. Timing. Courage. One person with plastique and determination can derail a train. Disrupt logistics. Cost the Germans time and resources. This is your strategy. Death by 1,000 cuts. But the tools you use carry weight. Moral weight. The pistol in your wall has killed before. Maybe in the trenches of 1914. Maybe in colonial wars. It has history. Blood on it that you cannot see but know exists. Now you might add to that history. Might kill with this tool. Might take a life to save others. You think about this sometimes. The mechanics of killing. Pointing the pistol. Pulling the trigger. Watching someone die because of your action. Can you do it? Would you? You tell yourself yes. Of course. For the cause. For France. For freedom. But you do not know. Not really. Theory and practice are different. Especially when the practice involves ending a human life. The tools wait. Hidden. Ready. You maintain them when you can. Clean the pistol with a cloth and drops of oil. Check the plastique for degradation. Inventory the ammunition. Make sure everything is functional. Prepared. Because someday soon you will need them. The tools of death. The desperate weapons of an outmatched resistance. And when that day comes, they will either work or they will not. Either you will succeed or you will die trying. This is the equipment of war in occupied France. Not glorious. Not impressive. Just functional enough. Just deadly enough. Just enough to keep fighting when everything says you should surrender. Chapter 15. The fear that never leaves. Let me tell you about fear. Real fear. The kind that lives in your chest like a parasite. That follows you everywhere. That colors everything you do. It is not the fear of physical pain. That fear is manageable. Acute. Comes and goes. This is different. This is existential dread. The knowledge that your life can end at any moment. That torture chambers exist. That people you know have disappeared into them. That you might be next. The Gestapo headquarters on Place Bellecour has a basement. Everyone knows about the basement. It is where they take people for interrogation. For torture. The screams carry through ventilation shafts. Into the street. People cross to the other side to avoid hearing them. But you still hear them. Everyone hears them. You know someone who was taken there. Pierre. He was in your cell. Participated in 3 operations. Was captured during a raid. You heard he lasted 2 days before talking. 2 days of torture. Then he broke. Gave names. Locations. Everything. The Gestapo executed him anyway. After they extracted all useful information, put a bullet in his head, dumped his body in the Rhone. You do not blame Pierre for talking. Nobody does. Everyone talks eventually. The human body has limits. The human mind has breaking points. Torture is scientifically designed to find and exploit those points. The Gestapo interrogators are professionals, trained, experienced. They know anatomy, psychology, how to inflict maximum pain without killing you too quickly. They use electricity, attach wires to genitals, to fingers, to teeth, send current through your body until you seize, until you scream, until you beg. Then they ask questions. If you answer truthfully, maybe they stop. Maybe they do not. If you lie, they know. They can tell. Then it gets worse. They use water, hold you underwater until your lungs scream, pull you up, let you breathe just enough to survive. Then under again, over and over, drowning but never quite dying. Your body's panic response is uncontrollable. You will say anything to make it stop. They use deprivation, keep you in darkness, in cold, without food, without sleep, days blurring together, reality becoming uncertain. Then they bring you food, water, warmth, but only if you cooperate, only if you betray. The relief is so intense you want to accept, want to trade information for comfort. This is when most people break. You know all this because survivors talk. The few who were released, the fewer who escaped, they describe it in detail, so everyone knows what waits if you are caught. Everyone knows the torture is not metaphorical. It is real, systematic, efficient. This knowledge creates a specific kind of fear. You lie in bed at night imagining it, planning what you would do, trying to prepare mentally. Could you resist? For how long? What would make you break? Would you give up real information or feed them lies? Could you lie convincingly enough to mislead them? Or would they see through it and hurt you worse? There are protocols. The resistance has guidelines. If captured, you try to hold out for 24 hours. Give your cell time to relocate. Change safe houses. Burn documents. Warn people you might compromise. 24 hours of resistance means your information becomes outdated, less useful. But 24 hours of torture. Can you imagine? Can you really prepare for that? You tell yourself yes. You have to believe yes. Because the alternative is giving up, fleeing, letting the fear win. The fear manifests physically. You have nightmares. Every night. Dreams of capture, of interrogation. You wake up soaked in sweat, heart racing. Sometimes you scream. Have to cover your mouth with your hand to muffle it. Cannot let neighbors hear. Cannot draw attention. During the day, the fear is different. Less acute but more pervasive. You jump at loud noises. Car door slamming makes you flinch. Footsteps behind you make you turn. Check. Verify. Every checkpoint is potential disaster. Every German soldier is potential death. You live in constant state of alert. Constant state of tension. This wears you down. Psychologically, physically. Your immune system suffers from chronic stress. You get sick more often. Heal slower. Your hair is falling out. Not from malnutrition alone. From stress. Your hands shake sometimes. Fine tremor you cannot fully control. Your stomach is always upset. Acidic. Painful. But you cannot show the fear. That would be suspicious. You have to project calm. Boredom even. Marcel Fontaine is just a warehouse clerk. Unafraid because he has nothing to hide. So you force your face into neutral expressions. Force your hands to stop shaking. Force your voice to stay steady. The performance is exhausting. There are moments when the fear becomes overwhelming. Panic attacks. Your chest tightens. Cannot breathe. The room spins. You feel like you are dying. These happen without warning. Without obvious trigger. Just your body and mind reaching capacity. Overloading on fear and stress and trauma. You manage them alone. Lock yourself in your apartment. Ride them out. Breathe. Count. Ground yourself in physical reality. Touch the wall. Feel the cold. Focus on sensation. The panic passes. always passes, leaves you drained but functional. Marie helped you once during a panic attack, found you hyperventilating in the safe house after a close call at a checkpoint. She sat with you, did not judge, did not tell you to toughen up, just sat, present. Human connection in a world designed to isolate. It helped more than she knows. The fear is not going away. You know this. It will stay with you, even if France is liberated, even if the war ends, even if you survive. This fear will be part of you forever. You will carry it. PTSD is not diagnosed yet. Will not have that name for years. But you have it. Everyone in the resistance has it. Trauma that will never fully heal. But you continue anyway, despite the fear. Because of it. The fear means you understand the stakes. Understand what you are fighting against. Understand that some things are worth more than safety. Worth more than comfort. Worth risking torture and death. So you live with the fear. Let it sit in your chest. Let it follow you everywhere. Let it remind you why you fight. And you hope, against all logic, against all evidence. You hope you are strong enough, brave enough, lucky enough, to survive what comes next. The fear never leaves, but neither do you. Chapter 16. The death that surrounds you. Death is not abstract here. It is not something that happens to other people in distant places. It is immediate, present, everywhere. You see bodies in the street, public executions as warning, hostages shot against walls, their bodies left for hours, sometimes days, as lessons, as terror. You walk past them. Everyone does. Eyes forward. Do not look. Looking shows emotion. Emotion is weakness. There was an execution 2 days ago. 15 men, random, pulled from their homes because the resistance blew up a bridge. Reprisals. German policy. For every act of sabotage, civilians die. These 15 men knew nothing, did nothing, were not resistance, just unlucky. Wrong place, wrong time. They were lined against the wall of a bank on Rue de la République. Wehrmacht firing squad. Officer gave the order. Rifles fired. The men fell. Blood ran down the wall, into the gutter. The bodies stayed there for 36 hours. People walked past, averted their eyes, kept moving. You walked past, saw them, recognized one face, Monsieur Bernard, the baker from 2 streets over. Made bread before the occupation. Real bread, good bread, now dead, for nothing. Because you and people like you chose resistance over submission. His blood is on your hands. Indirectly, but still. This is the moral calculus. Your actions have consequences. People die. Innocent people. The Germans make sure of that. Make sure resistance has a cost beyond the resistors themselves. They want you to feel the weight, the guilt, want you to stop. But if you stop, they win. France remains occupied. The brutality continues. Different people die. Maybe more people. The calculation is impossible. There is no right answer. Only terrible choices. Death comes other ways too. Disease, starvation, cold. People die in their apartments. Are discovered days later. When neighbors complain about the smell. The bodies are removed. Recorded. Forgotten. The system keeps grinding forward. You know people who have died. Many people. Some from resistance work. Captured. Executed. Tortured to death. Others from simple misfortune. Wrong papers. Wrong answer to a question. Wrong expression on their face at checkpoint. Death is not discriminating. Takes everyone. Antoine's brother was executed 6 months ago. Caught with forged documents. Not even resistance documents. Just fake work papers so he could avoid forced labor deportation. The papers were good. But an alert Gestapo officer noticed something. A date slightly wrong. That was enough. Antoine's brother was shot. No trial. No appeal. Dead. Antoine never talks about it. But you see it in his face sometimes. The grief. The anger. The determination. He builds bombs more carefully now. Makes sure they work. Makes sure Germans die when they explode. Personal revenge wrapped in political resistance. Marie lost her fiancé before you knew her, before she joined the resistance. He was a soldier, fought in 1940 when France fell, was captured, sent to prisoner of war camp in Germany, died there, disease, malnutrition. The Germans sent notification. One sentence. Died of natural causes. Natural causes in a camp where men starve to death. She keeps his photograph, carries it with her. You have seen it once. Young man, handsome, smiling, dead now, part of the millions consumed by this war. His death radicalized her, made her willing to risk everything. Because what else is there to lose? You think about your own death, often, how it will happen, where, when. Torture seems most likely. Capture followed by interrogation followed by execution. Or maybe simpler, shot at checkpoint, killed during operation, explosion, gunfire, quick or slow, painful or merciful, unknown variables. You hope for quick. If death comes, please let it be quick. Bullet to the head. Instant. No torture. No time to break. No time to betray. Just end. But you know this is unlikely. The Gestapo captures most resistors. Torture is the norm. Quick death is the exception. There is a cyanide capsule in the network. One capsule passed between operations. Whoever has the most dangerous mission carries it. You have carried it twice. Small glass vial. Bite down. 15 seconds to death. Painful but faster than torture. Escape if captured. Final control over your own fate. But you returned the capsule both times. Did not need it. Did not get captured. The capsule moved to someone else. You do not know who has it now. Maybe they used it. Maybe they are dead. Or maybe it is still circulating. Waiting for someone desperate enough. Brave enough. Destroyed enough to choose poison over interrogation. You have thought about what you would do if captured. Whether you would take the capsule if you had it. Whether you would choose death over the possibility of rescue. Over the chance to resist further. The honest answer is you do not know. Theory and practice. Different realities. Death has become normalized. You are numb to it. See bodies. Feel nothing. Hear about executions. Shrug. Someone you know dies. Grief is brief. Suppressed. There is no time for mourning. No energy for it. You catalog the loss. Adjust plans. Move forward. This is survival. This is how you function in a world where death is constant. But sometimes it breaks through. The numbness cracks. You see a child's body. Or someone who looks like your sister. Or a scene that is just too brutal to compartmentalize. Then you feel it. All of it. The accumulated grief and horror and rage. It overwhelms you. You have to hide. Process it alone. Cannot let anyone see. These moments are dangerous. Emotion clouds judgment. Makes you want revenge instead of strategy. Makes you reckless. Gets you killed. So you push the emotion down. Bury it. Return to numbness. Functional detachment. The only way to survive. The death toll is staggering. Not just from combat. From everything. The occupation kills through policy. Through indifference. Through deliberate cruelty. Starvation. Disease. Cold. Executions. Deportations. People disappear. Die in camps. Die in transit. Die everywhere. France is bleeding. Slowly. Continuously. Thousands dead. Maybe tens of thousands. You do not know the real numbers. Nobody does. The Germans do not publish them. The Vichy government lies about them. The truth is buried with the bodies. But you see it. Street by street. Building by building. Fewer people. More empty apartments. More boarded windows. More silence where noise used to be. The city is dying. The country is dying. And you are part of both the killing and the dying. Resistance work adds to the body count. But not resisting would too. Different bodies. Same death. So you live with it. The death that surrounds you. Accept it as environment. Like the cold. Like the hunger. Like the fear. Just another condition of existence in occupied France. Something to navigate around. something to survive despite. And you hope, small hope, quiet hope, that your death means something, that when it comes, and it will come, it contributes to something larger, to liberation, to justice, to the end of this nightmare, that you do not die like Monsieur Bernard, random, meaningless, just another body against another wall. You hope your death counts, because death is the only certainty left. Chapter 17. The hope that refuses to die, against all logic, against all evidence, against the cold and hunger and fear and death. There is still hope. Somehow, impossibly, hope survives. It is not rational hope, not based on facts or probability. The Germans are winning. France is occupied. The resistance is outmatched. The Allies are distant. Victory seems impossible. But hope persists anyway. You see it in small things. A woman sharing her bread ration with a stranger. An old man helping someone carry water. People still smiling occasionally. Still finding tiny moments of joy. Still believing tomorrow might be better. This is human resilience. The refusal to surrender completely. The hope is also strategic. News filters in from outside. Illegal radios hidden in basements. BBC broadcasts in French. The Allies are fighting back. North Africa, Italy, Russia. The German advance has stopped, stalled, started reversing. This is significant. The war is not over. The outcome is not certain. The D-Day invasion. You heard about it weeks late. Distorted rumors, whispered conversations. But confirmation eventually came through resistance channels. The Allies landed in Normandy. June 6, 1944. They established a beachhead, are pushing inland. France is being liberated. Slowly, but it is happening. This knowledge changes everything. Suddenly the resistance is not futile, not desperate last stand. It is strategic support. Sabotaging German supply lines helps the Allied advance. Disrupting communications, tying down German units. Every operation has purpose beyond symbolic gesture. The hope makes the suffering bearable, gives it meaning. You are cold and hungry and scared, but it is temporary, finite. Eventually this ends. Eventually you are free, or dead, but the occupation itself will end. France will be France again. But hope is dangerous too. It makes you careless, optimistic. You start thinking about after, about survival, about future. This distraction can kill you. You have to balance hope with realism. Believe in eventual victory while accepting immediate danger. The network is growing. More people joining. The successful operations inspire recruitment. People see resistance is possible. That Germans are not invincible. That fighting back has impact. So they join, risk their lives, contribute. Each new member is validation. Proof that hope spreads. Marie talks about after sometimes. What she will do when France is free. She wants to go to university, study literature, right? Live a normal life. These dreams seem impossible now, fantastical, but she believes in them, holds on to them. They sustain her through the darkness. You have your own after dreams, vague, uncertain, finding your family, if they survived, rebuilding, living without fear, eating real food, being warm. Simple things that seem miraculous from here. You do not articulate these dreams often. They feel presumptuous, like counting on surviving when survival is unlikely. But they exist. Quiet background radiation of hope. The prisoner camps are being liberated. You heard reports. As Allied forces advance, they find camps. Concentration camps. The rumors are horrifying. Starvation, mass murder, industrial-scale death. The full scope of Nazi atrocity is becoming clear. This knowledge hardens resolve, justifies resistance retroactively. You were right to fight, right to risk everything. The alternative was this, was genocide, was evil in its purest form. But the camp reports also confirm something terrible. Your resistance was not enough, not fast enough. Millions died before liberation reached them. millions you could not save. This guilt will stay with you. Should you have done more? Taken more risks? Sacrificed more? The questions have no good answers. Hope and guilt coexist, intertwined. You hope for future while regretting past. Hope the invasion succeeds while knowing success comes too late for many. Hope you survive while accepting survival is partial lottery. This emotional complexity is exhausting, but it is real. Honest, there are moments of genuine joy, small but real, when an operation succeeds spectacularly, when new supplies arrive, when you hear the war is turning against Germany. These moments are brief, fragile, but they matter. They remind you why you fight, why you endure. Last week, someone got wine. Real wine. Not the vinegar water sold as wine now. Real wine from a pre-war cache hidden somewhere. The cell shared it. One glass each. You drank slowly, savoring, remembering what France was, believing it could be that again. The wine tasted like hope, like memory, like promise. Antoine toasted. To France. To freedom. To the day we drink this wine in liberated Paris. Everyone raised glasses. Drank. The wine was good. The hope was better. You know, statistically, you will probably die before liberation. The math is clear. The Germans are retreating, but they are not gone. They are more desperate, more brutal. The reprisals are increasing. As they lose territory, they execute more hostages, destroy more infrastructure, salt earth as they leave. But maybe you survive. Maybe you are lucky. Maybe the Allies move fast enough. Maybe the Germans collapse before the Gestapo catches you. Maybe. The possibility exists. Slim, but real. That possibility is hope. The hope keeps you functional, gets you out of bed each morning, pushes you through the cold walk to work, sustains you during long nights of fear. Hope is biological survival mechanism. The brain protecting itself from despair, from surrender, from the logical conclusion that continuing is futile. So you hope, irrationally, desperately. You hope that your sister is alive, that your parents survived, that France remembers its resistors, that your death, if it comes, matters, that the suffering has purpose, that this nightmare ends, that dawn follows darkness, that hope itself was justified. The hope refuses to die, even when you want it to, even when accepting hopelessness would be easier. The hope persists, stubborn, relentless, human. It is your last weapon, your final defense, your reason to continue when all reasons fail. So you hold on to it, carefully, protect it, nurture it, share it with others, because hope is contagious. When Marie talks about university, others start imagining their own afters. When Antoine toasts liberation, everyone believes a little more. Hope spreads, multiplies, becomes collective. And maybe that is enough. Maybe hope is not just emotion. Maybe it is strategy. Maybe maintaining hope in impossible circumstances is itself resistance. Refusing to surrender psychologically. Refusing to accept defeat. Choosing belief over despair. The Germans can occupy France, can control bodies, can terrorize populations, but they cannot kill hope. Not completely, not while even one person chooses to believe, to fight, to continue. You are that person. For now, today, maybe tomorrow too. The hope refuses to die, and so do you. Chapter 18. The superstitions that save you. Rationality only goes so far. When death is random and survival is luck, humans create patterns, rituals, superstitions, things to feel control over uncontrollable chaos. You have yours. Everyone does. Unspoken, irrational, but necessary. You always put your left shoe on first. Always. This started randomly. The day you did it was the day an operation succeeded. So now you do it every day. Left shoe first. If you deviate, bad things will happen. You know this is illogical. You do it anyway. Cannot help it. The brain demands it. You avoid stepping on cracks in the sidewalk. Not deliberately, unconsciously. Your feet navigate around them. This started after you saw a man arrested. He stepped on a crack right before German soldiers grabbed him. Correlation is not causation. You know this. You avoid cracks anyway. There is a specific route you walk to work. Exact streets. Exact turns. On days you took different routes, bad things happened. Checkpoints. Close calls. So now you stick to the route. Same path every day. Even if it is longer. Even if it makes no sense. The ritual protects you. You believe this without believing it. Marie has her photograph. Her dead fiancé. She touches it before operations. Kisses it. Whispers to it. She is not religious. Does not believe his ghost watches over her. But she does it anyway. The ritual centers her. Gives her courage. This is enough. Antoine counts. Everything. Steps between locations. Number of bolts in devices he builds. Seconds between actions. He has lucky numbers. Unlucky numbers. If a count lands on unlucky number, he starts over. Adjusts. Makes it right. OCD manifesting as survival strategy. The entire cell has collective superstitions. Meeting in the same safe house for planning. Using the same cafe for signals. Specific phrases that mean good luck. These are not strategic. They are psychological. Human need for ritual in chaos. There are broader superstitions too. Shared across the resistance. Never say the word capture. Use euphemisms. Disappeared. Gone. Lost. The word itself has power. Speaking it invites it. Everyone knows this is irrational. Everyone complies anyway. Never volunteer for operations on Friday the 13th. This is widespread. Operations on that date have higher failure rates. Maybe because everyone is nervous. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Or maybe genuine bad luck. Either way, Friday the 13th operations are avoided when possible. Never wear new clothes to an operation. New clothes draw attention. But beyond that, they are unlucky. The old clothes have survived previous operations. They carry that survival with them. Protection through association. You wear the same jacket every time. Same trousers. Same shoes. They smell. They are filthy. They are lucky. You cannot imagine changing them. Religious faith is complicated. The church is compromised. Some priests collaborate. Some resist. Some try to stay neutral. Mass attendance is watched. Monitored. The Germans note who attends. Who does not. Both can be suspicious depending on your supposed background. Marcel Fontaine is supposedly non-religious. Checking that box on forms. Never attending church. But you personally were raised Catholic. Sometimes you pray. Privately. In your apartment. Not to the church. Not to the hierarchy. Just to God. To something larger. Asking for protection. For forgiveness. For meaning. These prayers feel like superstition too. You are not sure God is listening. Not sure God exists. But praying provides comfort. Ritual. Structure. So you do it. Hedging bets. Pascal's wager applied to occupation. There are signs you watch for. Omens. A specific bird appearing means good luck. A cat crossing your path means danger. These beliefs accumulated gradually. Built from random correlations. Now they are rules. You follow them without questioning. Questioning would require acknowledging their irrationality. Better to just comply. The night before a major operation, you do not sleep. This is deliberate. Staying awake all night before dangerous missions has become ritual. You tell yourself it keeps you alert. Sharp. Really, it is superstition. The few times you slept normally before operations, things went wrong. Correlation. Causation. You cannot risk it. Some superstitions are inverse. Things you must not do. Never say goodbye. Say see you later instead. Goodbye is permanent. Final. Saying it invites it. So everyone says see you later. Even when odds are you will not see them later. The euphemism is armor against truth. Never talk about specific futures. Do not plan what you will do in 6 months. Do not make appointments for next month. Live day to day. Hour to hour. Planning too far ahead tempts fate. Invites disaster. Stay present. Stay immediate. This protects you. Somehow. The Germans have their own superstitions. You notice them. Wehrmacht soldiers carrying lucky charms. Photos of families. Specific medals. They touch them before patrols. Before engagements. Same human need for control. Same irrational comfort. Even the Gestapo, who pride themselves on rationality and efficiency, show superstition. Certain interrogators refuse to work on specific days. Certain officers have lucky interrogation rooms. Unlucky ones. The brutality does not erase the humanity underneath, just warps it. You wonder if these superstitions actually help. If believing you are protected creates confidence that improves performance. Self-fulfilling prophecy in positive direction. Or if it is just comfort, illusion, placebo effect, does not matter. The effect is real regardless of mechanism. Tonight is a new operation. Arms pick up from another supply drop. You go through your rituals. Left shoe first. Specific route. Touch your jacket pocket 3 times. Not twice. Not 4. 3. This is important. You do not know why. You do it anyway. Marie touches her photograph. Antoine counts his steps. Everyone performs their private rituals. Then together you perform the collective ones. Specific phrases. Specific gestures. Synchronized irrationality. Group delusion or group protection. Who knows? The operation succeeds. You retrieve the weapons. Return safely. The rituals worked. Or you were lucky. Or the Germans were not patrolling that area. Variables beyond counting. But you will credit the rituals. Because you need to believe in something. Anything. Beyond random chance and chaos. The superstitions will continue. Multiply. Become more elaborate. Because they work. Not objectively. But psychologically. They provide structure. Control. Meaning. In a world where those things are illusions, illusions are valuable. So you put your left shoe on first tomorrow. And the day after. And every day until this ends. Because the alternative is admitting you have no control. No protection. No power. Just luck. Random. Indifferent. Terrifying. The superstitions refuse that terror. Impose order. Create rules. Give you agency even if that agency is imaginary. This is human. Universal. The need to believe we matter. That our actions have consequences. That patterns exist in chaos. You know better. Intellectually. But knowledge is not survival. Superstition is. So you practice yours. Religiously. Irrationally. Necessarily. And you survive. One more day. One more operation. One more morning where you put your left shoe on first and tell yourself it makes a difference. Maybe it does. Maybe it does not. You will never know. And you are okay with that. Chapter 19. The enemy you never see. Let us talk about the Germans. The occupation force. The enemy. Except they are not monolithic. Not uniform. They are individual humans with their own stories. Their own fears. Their own superstitions, probably. This complicates things. It would be easier if they were monsters. Pure evil. Easy to hate. Easy to kill without moral complexity. But they are not. Some are. Many are not. They are just people. Caught in the same war. Following orders. Trying to survive. This does not excuse them. Does not absolve them. But it makes them human. You see them every day. Wehrmacht soldiers at checkpoints. Young. Tired. Homesick. Some are cruel. Power drunk on occupation. They harass people. Abuse power. Enjoy inflicting fear. These are easy to hate. But others are just bored conscripts. Following routines. Checking papers mechanically. Not invested. Not enthusiastic. Just doing jobs so they can go home. There was a soldier at your regular checkpoint. Klaus. You learned his name by accident. Heard another soldier use it. Klaus was maybe 22. From Munich. He smiled sometimes. Not at you. Never at French citizens. But at his fellow soldiers. He had a girlfriend. You saw him reading letters. His face softening. Becoming young again. Klaus was shot 3 weeks ago. Resistance operation. Different cell. They ambushed a patrol. Klaus died. You felt nothing, then felt guilty about feeling nothing. He was enemy, legitimate target, but also 22 years old from Munich with a girlfriend. Complexity is exhausting. The German officers are different. Professionals. Career military. They believe in order, in discipline, in German superiority. Some genuinely believe the occupation is good for France, bringing stability, efficiency, German values. These are dangerous because they are committed, not just following orders, actually invested in the mission. Then there is the SS. Different entirely. Ideologues, true believers. They wear black uniforms, death's head insignias. They are Nazis, not just German soldiers. Nazis. They believe in racial purity, in conquest, in the 1,000-year Reich. They are cruel because they are trained to be, because cruelty is policy. These are the monsters. These you can hate without complexity. And the Gestapo, secret police, the ones you fear most. They are not soldiers. They are hunters, interrogators. Their job is finding resistance members, breaking them, extracting information. They are good at it. Very good. They have psychological profiles, training in manipulation, in torture, in breaking human will. They are professional destroyers of people. But here is the thing. You never see them coming. The Gestapo does not wear uniforms usually. They blend. They could be anyone. The man buying bread next to you, the woman in the cafe, the clerk at the warehouse. Anyone could be Gestapo or informant or collaborator. This uncertainty is tactical. If you cannot identify the enemy, you cannot avoid them, cannot fight them, can only fear constantly. Sometimes Germans are kind. This is confusing. A Wehrmacht soldier giving bread to a hungry child. An officer letting someone pass checkpoint without full search. Small acts of humanity. Are they genuine or strategic? Winning hearts and minds? You cannot know. You cannot trust kindness. Kindness might be trap. Better to assume everyone is threat. There are German deserters. Not many, but some. Soldiers who stop believing, who see too much, who cannot continue. They hide in France. Try to survive. Some contact resistance. Offer help. Information. Do you trust them? Can you? Are they genuine or are they plants? Gestapo operations to infiltrate networks. The paranoia never ends. You killed a German once. Indirectly. Planted explosive that destroyed a truck. You saw the truck before it exploded. 3 soldiers inside. They died. Instant probably. The explosion was massive. You watched from a distance. Saw the flash. Felt the shockwave. Heard the screams. Brief. Then silence. You told yourself they were enemy, legitimate targets, that their deaths helped the cause, saved Allied lives. This is true, but they were also people who had families, friends, lives. You ended those lives. This weight exists. You carry it. Some resistance members enjoy killing Germans. See it as revenge, justice, payback for occupation, for brutality, for everything. You understand this, but you do not feel it. You feel mostly nothing. Numbness, professional detachment. The killing is necessary, part of war, part of resistance, but it is not joyful, not satisfying, just necessary. The enemy you fear most is not the Germans. It is the collaborators, the French who chose German side, because they are invisible. They speak your language, know your culture, can infiltrate networks, can identify resistors, can betray from within. The Germans are foreign, obvious. Collaborators are French, hidden, more dangerous. Blanchard is enemy. Monsieur Bernard was not. But Blanchard survived and Bernard died. This is the mathematics of occupation. The wrong people thrive. The right people suffer. Injustice is systematic, structural. The collaborators enable the occupation, make it function. Without them, the Germans would struggle, would need more troops, more resources. The collaboration is what makes occupation sustainable. You hate collaborators more than Germans. This is common among resistors. The Germans are doing what enemies do. Invading, conquering, expected. But collaborators are traitors. Chose comfort over country, survival over solidarity. They are unforgivable. But are they? Is choosing survival wrong? Is protecting your family wrong? The moral absolutes are easier to maintain when you are not starving, when your children are not hungry. Many collaborators are just desperate people making impossible choices. This does not excuse them, but it explains them. You try not to think about individual Germans. Try to see them as enemy force, collective threat. This is easier, simpler, less morally complex. But sometimes you cannot help it. You see Klaus's face, young, reading letters, being human, then dead, and you wonder what you are becoming, what the resistance is turning you into. The enemy you never see is yourself, the person you are becoming, capable of killing, of planting bombs, of accepting civilian casualties, of carrying on despite it all. This person is stranger, foreign, not who you were before, but who you have to be now. The war changes everyone, makes Germans into occupiers, makes French into resistors or collaborators, makes everyone into something harder, colder, more capable of violence. This is what war does, what occupation does. Transforms humans into combatants, removes options until only terrible choices remain. You fight the enemy, but you do not really know the enemy, cannot see them clearly. They are individuals and collective, human and system, visible and invisible, clear and ambiguous. The moral clarity you wanted does not exist. Just shades of gray, infinite complexity, exhausting nuance. So you simplify when you can. Germans are enemy, must be resisted. This is enough, has to be enough, because the alternative is paralysis, inaction, surrender, and that is unacceptable. The enemy continues, patrolling, occupying, hunting, and you continue, hiding, sabotaging, resisting, and somewhere in the middle is truth, complex, uncomfortable, human, but truth is luxury. Right now you need simple answers, clear sides, good versus evil, even if reality is more complicated, even if you know better. So you paint Germans as enemy, paint yourself as patriot, paint the war in black and white, and you ignore the gray until you cannot anymore. Chapter 20. The liberation that costs everything. The Allies are coming. You hear the sounds. Distant artillery, growing closer. The Germans are retreating, destroying everything as they go. Bridges, factories, records. They burn and blow and demolish. Scorched earth policy. If they cannot have France, nobody can. The city is changing. Fewer German patrols. More chaos. Abandoned checkpoints. Wehrmacht soldiers looking nervous. Looking over shoulders. Knowing they lost. Knowing retreat is coming. But not yet. Not quite yet. This is the most dangerous time. Desperate enemies are brutal enemies. The Gestapo is making final arrests. Executing final prisoners, destroying evidence, eliminating witnesses. The body count is accelerating. They know liberation is close. They want to kill as many as possible before it arrives. Your cell receives orders. Final operations. Hit German supply lines. Slow their retreat. Make them pay for every kilometer. The Allies need France's infrastructure intact. Need roads, bridges, railways. Your job is protecting them while destroying German logistics. Impossible balance. The operation tonight is bridge defense. There is a bridge outside Lyon, critical for Allied advance. The Germans have planted explosives. Plan to destroy it. You need to disable the explosives. Save the bridge. Simple, suicidal, but necessary. The team assembles. Marie, Antoine. For others, you know the risks. German engineers will guard the bridge, defend the explosives. This is combat operation, not sabotage, not espionage, direct confrontation. Many will die, maybe all. But the bridge must survive. You approach at night. 2 in the morning. Dark. Cold. The bridge is visible against starlight. Stone and steel spanning the river. Beautiful. Critical. Doomed unless you succeed. German guards are visible. 6, maybe 8. They have machine gun position. Sandbags. Prepared defensive position. This is bad. Very bad. But you proceed anyway. Antoine approaches first. He is carrying wire cutters. His job is cutting detonator wires while others provide cover. You and Marie have the only firearms. Your ancient pistol. 6 rounds. Her stolen Luger. 8 rounds. 14 bullets against 8 German soldiers with machine guns. The mathematics are terrible. But you begin anyway. Crawl through undergrowth. Move slowly. Quietly. Get within 50 meters. Then machine gun opens up. They saw you. Heard you. Somehow they knew. Bullets tear through vegetation. Through air. Through reality itself. The sound is overwhelming. Terrifying. Beautiful in its violence. You fire back. Your pistol sounds pathetic compared to the machine gun. Pop pop versus rat-a-tat-tat-tat. But you fire anyway. Squeeze. Pop. The recoil surprises you. You have never fired this pistol before. Never fired any gun before. The reality is so different from imagination. Marie is firing too. Methodical. Accurate. She hits someone. You hear screaming. German voices yelling. Confusion. Good. Confusion helps. You fire again. Again. Your 6 rounds are gone. The pistol is empty. Useless. You drop it. Grab knife. This is knife fight now. Antoine reaches the bridge. He is cutting wires. Desperate. Fast. The machine gun swings toward him. You scream. Try to draw fire. Marie tackles a German guard. They struggle. She stabs him. He stabs her. They both scream. The explosives detonate. Not all. Antoine cuts some wires. But not enough. Part of the bridge explodes. Massive. The shockwave throws you backward. Ears ringing. Vision blurred. Dust and smoke everywhere. When vision clears, the bridge is damaged. Not destroyed. Maybe usable. Maybe not. Antoine is not moving. Marie is bleeding. So much blood. 3 Germans dead. Maybe 4. The rest retreating. Mission success. Sort of. Terrible cost. You crawl to Marie. She is conscious. Barely. Gut wound. Fatal probably. You try to stop the bleeding. She looks at you. Smiles. Says something. You cannot hear. Ears still ringing from explosion. She hands you her photograph. The fiancé. Then stops moving. Marie is dead. The woman who saved your life. Who taught you courage. Who fought beside you. Dead on bridge approach. Blood soaking into French soil she died defending. You carry her body. Heavy. Dead weight. Literally. You hate yourself for thinking that. But bodies are heavy. The living forget this. The dead remind you. You carry her to safe house. Other survivors help. Antoine is dead too. 2 others wounded. The operation succeeded. The bridge is damaged but standing. Allies can repair it. Use it. Worth the cost. You tell yourself this. You have to believe this. Dawn comes. Gray light. Distant thunder. Not thunder. Artillery. Allied artillery. Close now. Very close. Liberation is days away. Maybe hours. You almost made it. Marie almost made it. Antoine almost made it. Almost does not count. The city erupts. Final German push. Arrests. Executions. Burning documents. The occupation is collapsing. The Germans know. Everyone knows. But they continue their brutality to the end. Monsters being monstrous until the final moment. You hear the first Allied units entered Lyon. American soldiers. Jeeps. Tanks. The real kind. Not German panzers. Allied armor. They are fighting street to street. German rear guard is resisting. But losing. Obviously losing. You want to join them. Fight openly. But you are exhausted. Wounded. Bleeding from somewhere. Cannot remember getting hit. Does not matter. You find a basement. Hide. Wait. Let the professional soldiers finish it. The sounds of battle continue. All day. Into night. Then quiet. Sudden quiet. You hear cheering. Distant at first. Then closer. Growing. The Germans retreated. The city is liberated. Lion is free. You emerge from the basement. The streets are full. People everywhere. Crying. Laughing. Hugging. French flags appearing from nowhere. Everyone has flags. Where were they hidden? How long? Years of occupation, and everyone secretly had flags. Waiting for this day. American soldiers are surrounded by crowds. Being kissed. Being thanked. They look tired. Dirty. Young. So young. But they are here. Real. Liberation is real. You walk through celebrating crowds. Should feel something. Joy. Relief. Victory. Feel nothing. Just numb. Empty. Marie is dead. Antoine is dead. Pierre. Klaus. Monsieur Bernard. Madame Laurent. All dead. The cost of liberation is piled in corpses. In trauma. In memories that will never leave. Someone hands you wine. Real wine. Pre-war vintage. Hidden for this exact moment. You drink. Tastes like ashes. Like blood. Like victory and defeat simultaneously. Everyone is celebrating. You try to. Cannot. Not yet. Maybe never. The Gestapo headquarters is burning. Someone set it on fire. Good. Let it burn. Let all evidence of horror burn. Except the evidence is in people's minds. In bodies. In scars. Fire does not erase that. Collaborators are being found. Arrested. Some are executed on the spot. Street justice. You should stop it. Should advocate for trials. For rule of law. Cannot find the energy. They chose their side. Chose wrong. Consequences follow. You walk to your apartment. Up 3 flights. The building is celebrating. Every door open. People in hallways. Drinking. Laughing. You close your door. Lock it. Sit on your bed. The bed where you nearly died of fever. Where Marie saved you. You open the box. The unsent letters. 43 letters to people who might be dead. You read them. All of them. Takes hours. Reading your own words. Your fear. Your hope. Your desperation. This is who you were. Who you became. Who you are. France is free. The occupation is over. You survived. But survival is not victory. Not really. Everyone you fought beside is dead. Everyone you loved is probably dead. The country is destroyed. The trauma is permanent. The scars are forever. This is liberation. Not glorious. Not clean. Just the end of one nightmare and the beginning of another. The nightmare of living with what you did. What you saw. Who you became. This is the cost. You saved France. Maybe. Helped save it anyway. You and thousands like you. Resistance fighters. Secret soldiers. The people who refused to accept occupation. Who fought despite impossible odds. Who sacrificed everything. This matters. Has to matter. But tonight, in your cold apartment, listening to celebration outside, you feel no triumph. Just exhaustion. Relief. Emptiness. The war is not over. Just your part in it. The Germans retreated but not surrendered. The fighting continues. Death continues. Just somewhere else now. You survived. This is supposed to be enough. Is it? You cannot tell. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe next week. Maybe years from now you will feel joy. Feel pride. Feel anything besides this crushing numbness. Maybe. For now you sit. Hold Marie's photograph. The fiancé she never married. Now she never will. You add the photograph to your box. Close it. Hide it under your bed. Evidence of who you were. Who you might have been. Who you can never be again. France is free. The occupation is over. Liberation has arrived. And all it cost was everything. Conclusion. So, how has your day been? Let me guess. You woke up in a warm bed. Had hot coffee. Maybe a pastry. Checked your phone. Complained about traffic or weather or some minor inconvenience. Your biggest decision was probably what to watch on Netflix. You did not wake up wondering if today is the day you die. Did not check if your false papers are in your pocket. Did not walk past executed civilians on your way to work. Did not starve. Did not freeze. Did not face torture or betrayal or impossible moral choices. Did not plant bombs or kill enemies or watch friends die. You lived an ordinary day. Safe, federal, warm, free. Do you understand now? Do you see the gap between that ordinary day and the hell we just walked through? Between your convenience and their survival? Between annoyance and actual suffering? Here is the wildest part. The resistance fighters who survived carry all of it forever. The fear, the guilt, the trauma, the faces of everyone who died, the impossible choices, the things they did that they cannot forgive themselves for. All of it, always. They paid for your freedom in ways you will never fully comprehend. In pieces of themselves they can never get back. Most did not survive. The Gestapo caught them, tortured them, executed them, or they died during operations, or starved, or froze, or just broke under the weight and gave up. The survival rate for resistance fighters in occupied France was maybe 30%. Maybe. The other 70% are buried in unmarked graves or forgotten entirely. But they chose it anyway, chose danger over safety, chose resistance over collaboration, chose France over themselves. Not because they were heroes. Most were ordinary people, teachers, clerks, bakers, students, farmers, just people who could not accept occupation, could not live as slaves, could not watch their country disappear. They were not superhuman. They were terrified, hungry, cold, desperate, making it up as they went, hoping their fake papers hold, hoping the bomb detonates, hoping they last another day, just hoping, and fighting, and dying. Liberation came, eventually, August 1944 for Paris, September for most of France. But liberation is not healing. France was free but broken, bombed, starved, traumatized. The reconstruction took decades. Some scars never healed. The people who survived carried everything forward. Into peace, into normal life, into futures they barely believed in. Marie never went to university, never wrote her literature, never lived her normal life. Antoine never saw France free. Pierre broke under torture but died anyway. Klaus went home in a coffin to Munich. Monsieur Bernard died for nothing. Madame Laurent died by mistake. The casualties are uncountable, the suffering unmeasurable, the price incomprehensible. But France survived. Democracy survived. The occupation ended. The Nazis lost. Eventually, the resistance contributed. Sabotage delayed German operations. Intelligence helped Allied planning. Moral resistance prevented total capitulation. It mattered. Their sacrifice mattered. Even if the cost was everything. So tonight, when you sleep in your warm bed, maybe say a quiet thank you. To the resistance fighters who died so you could be free. To the people who suffered so you could be safe. To the ordinary humans who became extraordinary through sheer desperation and courage. They paid for the world you inherited. Paid with lives and sanity and pieces of soul. And maybe remember that freedom is not free. Democracy is not guaranteed. Evil can rise anywhere. Occupation can happen. It did happen. To France. To most of Europe. To millions of people who thought it could never happen to them. Until it did. Stay vigilant. Stay informed. Stay human. Remember what they fought for. Remember what they lost. Remember that you would not last long as a resistance fighter in Nazi-occupied France. But remember also that ordinary people did. That courage is possible. That resistance is choice. That freedom must be defended. Always, thank you for staying with me tonight. For walking through this nightmare. For witnessing what they endured. I hope you found something valuable in the darkness. Some understanding. Some appreciation. Some connection to history and humanity. Take care of yourself. Stay warm. Stay fed. Stay free. And never forget that someone paid for all of that. With everything they had. With everything they were. With everything they might have been. Good night. Sleep well. In your freedom they died to preserve.